Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Fight Night Rising. We are back yet again, and this time with a bit of a B patch. My name is Khroen, and alongside me is Boopasaurus to give you all the action. Boop, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm excited to watch some games. Just like my GPA in high school, that B patch is not really changing a whole ton, but we'll definitely point out the things that it has affected. But yeah, after those games yesterday in the last chance qualifiers, I think we have a lot to look forward to, especially with this group of players, which has got a lot of different personalities in it.
Oh yeah, definitely. This group of players is pretty fun. We'll introduce them here in just a bit. But as you mentioned, there is this B patch. Only a few things got changed, mainly just Hellions and Redeemed. So probably not too much of the meta is going to be shifted. We're still going to see similar things between Forgottens and Dawnbringers, probably still Redeemed players and things of the like. So. I mean, that's probably just what's going to happen in this patch. And as you're mentioning, right, the last chance qualifiers or the Challenger Series is something that, the meta is going to be established around because those are, the best TFT players qualifying for the mid set and everything. So we'll see how maybe their games may influence these players here today. But first, let's take a look at the prizing, which these players are going to be playing for. It is $200 total. $100 goes to first place, second place 50, and third and fourth will be $25 a piece. And the top three are going to be invited back for next week.
And it's the Steam Summer Sale, by the way, everyone. So if you haven't already spent all your money on games you'll never play, winning at winning at Fight Night is one of the ways that you can help support yourself there too. But $100 for first place—that's not chump change.
No, it's not indeed. Goodbye yourselves. A lot of nice things, a lot of nice games. But let's go ahead and introduce the players that will be joining us for this week. We have our top three from last week. The victor of Sill Wanders, Jose Paulo, and Alan Van also returning. And then we have ImprobableBlob, koalaesbelto, ThatsAdmirable, getting some caster action in here. Excited to see that. We also have Coralie and Sonikzo in here as well. So a very recognizable lobby, I would say, Boop.
I think we have casted or know of 7 out of 8 of these players, at least for me.
Yep.
And so the only mystery for me is Cora, which is funny because there's a great Hearthstone caster named Cora, which is where ThatsAdmirable, I think, is probably most well known for. So if you're wondering, is it that admirable? Yes, it is. That is the one. The caster extraordinaire, also someone in the industry that if anyone ever was like, hey, do you know ThatsAdmirable? Literally everyone would go, what a nice guy, right? One of the most amazing people, super nice. What you see on screen is what you get in real life too. So I'm excited to see him play. And is this the first time a caster has been in Fight Night Rising when they were a caster first? Because I know Bryce has been here. I know a couple other players have, but I think this is the first caster into Fight Night Rising that we've had.
Yeah, I'm not thinking of any other exceptions to that, so I'm gonna say that I think this will be ThatsAdmirable being the first caster to then compete here, which is exciting because ThatsAdmirable, obviously very, very well-known Hearthstone caster, as you're mentioning, but also is a really good TFT player. He's been grinding a lot of the game recently, ever since he kind of really dove back into it in set 5, and has been, really good, a solid analytical mind, I think, in the game. And so I'm excited to see how that approach can translate from, what I've experienced with him casting into the actual gameplay and competing against other really strong players.
Yeah, totally agree. And I think the kind of dark horse that we're going to see in this particular lobby is actually I'm going to say one of our top 3 from last week is going to be Sill Wanders, who we didn't actually, see a lot of. And while he did win from last week, you're like, why are you saying the winner might be the dark horse? Well, this lobby is a little bit different. And so I think this lobby is going to be a little bit more challenging for Sill, who we are looking at right now, who was able to pull out the win last week. Are they going to be able to do it again this week? We're riding along right now. Let's see. Also, if you want to follow the players in this lobby, go ahead and hover over the screen on the computer, and it'll show you how to follow each and every one of the players, including the casters here too. But for Sill, we've got some crick gloves on our Poppy.
Oh, and we have a Morgana Yasuo opener for Sill, so this very well could just be your comp decided in the first neutral rounds of the game. Not too shabby. Finds another Nightbringer as well, going to be 3 out of 4. if you want to think about the force energy. But yeah, I'm just going to put both of those in. Already a crit glove, which can go to either a hand of justice or shadow hodge, I guess, as Yasuo is like, or going to be a jeweled gauntlet potential. Like, this is a really, really fortunate opener for Sill.
I think that might be a little bit of an understatement, Khroen.
Yeah.
Not only is this a little bit of a high roll, we do get the crit glove, like you said. So the other thing about this early Nightbringer comp is with those shields, you're going to be able to withstand a couple more units that struggle or that don't struggle in the early game. For example, you're going to be able to take a potential Callista Spear where it would one-shot someone else in the back line. So now that we have this Nightbringer comp to start with 2 very strong Nightbringers and hard CC to start on the first PvP round, I could see Sill winning out for quite a bit.
Yeah, I would like to see Sill take this this Aatrox though, just to get a bit of perhaps a Legionnaire in there. Because if you don't get 4 Nightbringer, then you need something else. A Legionnaire is in this next shop as well. With the Callista, we'll see what Sill Wonders ends up recognizing as the best board. Probably not wanting to slam any of these items. You want the gloves for other things, and you don't want to make the Thieves Gloves or the IE. Sill Wonders does level up and play a Soraka, so 2 Renewer. No Legionnaire for the Callista, or for the Yasuo, unfortunately, but that's okay. As the other players leveling up to 4 as well. I believe ThatsAdmirable landing on 2 out of 3 Draconic, and I know ThatsAdmirable does love to play Draconic. And yeah, already a Shojin Slam on a Zyra, so really just needs to find that set, or the Ashe, I suppose, could do that. Set a bit more likely, however, at this point.
So I want everyone, if you're into TFT and you have not seen Ramblin's tier list just yet, to go to Ramblin. Very, very good TFT player. Has almost qualified for so many things. But the tier list there mentions the Zyra Abomination comp. And so this is probably where we're going to be going, especially with the itemization on the Zyra already. Look at all that CC. So yeah, we've got the Admiral, which is actually really funny because that's also the IGN of my husband is Admiral John. So this is a little bit of a like a deja vu, not really deja vu, but yeah, who is the true admiral? You know, who is the true admiral?
We'll see. Gotta get your husband on to compete in fight tonight. Then we'll see the battle, the showdown.
The dirty Hellion one trick.
Oh my, that's Admiral actually rolling at 2-2 to try to find set. The absolute audacity of rolling to hit for Draconic this early is so risky, but does not land on it, however, so that's really, really unfortunate. Does have pretty much perfect items, however. The Shadow Runelands is going to be best in slot for the Abomination, and Shojin going to be a great start of best in slot Zyra. Goes up against Jose Paulo, who's in a kind of similar situation, actually. It has 2 Draconics, but the items are on the Udyr, so that's going to be a bit better at carrying at this point in the game.
Definitely agree there. And so we're kind of in a Spider-Man meme situation right now with some of our units. The Admiral is going to fall, but in the end, we'll see if that extra roll will be a nuisance for our Admiral here, because, you know, it might not be a lot of gold to start, but we don't hit Econ there, and we might have a hard time if we don't hit that Draconic early. A lot of people will rush levels so they can get to the Zyra, which you've already done. So there might have been a little bit of like false confidence involved. Oh, I got the hard part. Let me roll for the easy part, and we missed out. As we're over to Cora, and she seems to be running some Dawnbringers right now with a little bit of an opportunity to move into skirmishers later on if they so choose, or we're just going to chill until the game kind of tells us where to go.
Yeah, winning this round means that you could sell the Thrush and the Udyr for Econ while saving the Soraka for the Dawnbringer potential. No items slammed thus far means that Cora definitely wants to keep the options open. Doesn't want to. I mean, there's really nothing that you would really be happy about slamming here, to be honest, besides for maybe the Shadow TG, but even that's not going to be great. So does not so many items and still wins this round, gets to sell up to 10 econ, so not in a bad position. We'll really see what direction that she's going after, what item is going to pick on the carousel, because gets to pick second. ImprobableBlob and Alan will be picking first, and there's a couple appealing options. There's 3-cost Rod, Shadow Sword, Shadow Glove. Shadow Glove on the Katarina, definitely not bad for any perhaps forgotten players, and Alan Van does grab that one up very quickly.
And Alan Van had a little bit of a tough time last week, but somehow reached that top three after I think maybe winning the last lobby after struggling for the first two lobbies. So
Yeah.
stating Alan Van here might be a little bit of a mirage, as he's had two different fight night weeks. This is the third week for Alan. The first week, he was the econ king, was able to buy whatever, kind of controlled the first three lobbies. The second week was much less control. And so
Yeah.
actually played he played Draconic on that last lobby and was able to pull out the dub. So
Right.
yeah, and I think that was kind of like I think I'm out. Let me just go play Draconic, and actually we're back. So Alan, Alan Van now with the Forgotten lineup right now. We're going to get 2 stacks of that IE on that Katarina. How's this comp performing after this B patch?
Yeah, B patch hasn't really changed Forgotten that much, actually, like at all. It's just going to make it, of course, a bit better into the Redeemed that got nerfed. But that's really the only other change up in the meta for this comp. Already having at least 2 stacks of the Shadow item bonus for Forgotten is going to be pretty good. Katarina is a fantastic carry that you honestly can stick with going into the late game, or you can take these items off and give them over to a Draven a bit later on. Either or can work. But Alan Van is going to lose out that round, going a bit of a loss streak. 82 HP, however, not the worst. 10 gold, same with Jose Paulo, also on 10 gold there. Finds a Kha'Zix too, and a Riven, so the potential now for a pivot over to Dawnbringer and carrying a Riven is here. So yeah, it does indeed consider that one. At least keeps on the bench for now.
This is, I think, like if you're in like plat or below, this is where a lot of people make a mistake, is you kind of split your comps, right? I think some people might be at some of these lower levels might try to invest in both of these comps for a little longer than they should. So I wonder where Alan is going to make a decision here and officially pivot, because we have opportunities both directions. But I mean, thematically, these two comps are completely opposites of each other. Not in gameplay, but thematically for sure. So we'll see how long this stays, as the Admiral, I don't believe, has a set yet.
Yeah, it didn't seem like it. Jose, I believe Alan was scouting Jose. Jose
He
does
does
have
have an
3
egg,
Draconic.
so at least we did find 3 Draconics at the end of the day, but that's going to be an Udyr, most likely, coming out of that small egg. And we'll see what's going to be up next, because the thing about Draconic is they're going to live on the bottom of the leaderboard for a pretty good while until they start finding that advantage. And you want to get those gold eggs in time.
Yeah, we're gonna be seeing what's going on in just a little bit. And I get back into the game, make sure everything's running smoothly. But yeah, you probably will go on a bit of a loss streak with Draconic, and the units aren't inherently that powerful. But if you get some good items, you still can go on a bit of a win streak. It's just definitely not going to be the consistent thing there. I want to see, after all the Hellion buffs, if someone's going to land on a really strong early Hellion board and use that to propel them forward into a 4 Invoker late game kind of board like we saw towards the beginning of the set, because I think that option's definitely still going to be an appealing one, especially when, 4 Hellion buffs come through, right? The Hellions in general, and then Kled, Poppy, and Kennen all got buffs, so that's not too shabby.
No, that's a lot of investment in power, but I think what it kind of showed was it went from weak to, I think, where it was supposed to be, if that makes sense, right? I think we saw a lot of people running that Hellion opening to be consistently lose streaking because Ziggs would take out a unit. But now it's supposed to be that early game powerhouse, which I think it was designed to be. As we're going over to koalaesbelto, and I remember koalaesbelto as an assassin player.
Yeah.
Assassin one trick, got top 3 twice in Fight Night, but had a third week where I believe they got 4th. So we'll see if they're going to continue going this route for Coven and potentially more assassins.
Yeah, I'm probably not sticking with the Coven, just playing it because it is the best synergy at the time right now. It is going to lose, however, the Abomination of ThatsAdmirable and the Draconic that he's landed on is, of course, just going to be that composition that you were referring to earlier. Ramblin' has a great guide on it, and many other compositions, so definitely still do recommend checking that out. Koala is landing on a Shadow Glove at this point, levels up, plays a Knight. Now, going back to the other compositions, and I believe it was Alan, and if they're going to land on Dawnbringer or Forgotten, 3-2 is kind of the round where if you're playing Forgotten, you roll down for 6 Forgotten. So we're going to be able to see where that direction is going here. And there's going to be repositioning a little bit is going to protect this Lissandra against any assassins. Say if Kha'Zix jumps back, we'll get stuck on the Vladimir most likely, while Leona tanks a bit of the front line, and is even aggressively slamming the Sunfire cape as well. So not want to prioritize making use of any of the other items that can be so good for like Warmogs or Bramble or anything like that. Just gonna go for the bit of the right now power spike.
That's admirable. Playing what I like to call the baby comp, which is just tier 1 units. They haven't hit puberty yet. They have to grow up still. And that's a little unfortunate, but 58 HP playing Draconic at 3-2 is a little low. Because remember, the idea behind Draconic is, do you go to 5, right? If you hit 3, are you locked into 5? Are you going to move out with Ash carry? There's actually a lot of decisions that you can make, but if you do try to go for that 5 and you're at 58 HP already, we can kind of assume that by the time you get a golden egg, right, you might be at like 30 HP. You might not ever crack it. So it's really about rushing that timing, which is why you'll see some Draconic players level super aggressively so they can get that Heimerdinger way earlier than anyone else can.
Oh yeah, definitely. So the potential is there. If you get the Heimer, you can do it and propel that to a high placement, if not a victory. Looks like with Koala's scouting, Alan did land on 6 Forgotten, rolled down on 3-2 it looked like for it. But Koala's Lissandra, gets Thresh hooked and Warwick ulted, so gonna be not chaining some wins together. Instead, go loss, win, loss, which everyone hates to see. And on 20 gold, Koala isn't honestly, like, even though they're not down there in the 50s in HP, they're in kind of a rough spot, I would say. It's kind of hard to pivot out of this with the gold that Koala has. We're not strong enough to win streak in this stage either. Really need to land on, it looks like the Dawnbringer pivot and a Karma or something of the sort, but has to find it first.
I believe that's a compostable straw. Good for you. Anyway. I got shamed. My husband actually got shamed once at a restaurant, and I'll never forget it. Anyway, it was like a life-opening experience for me because we were using a straw or something like that. But Boulder, Colorado, friends, 3-4 now. We're going to see where the carousel brings us. Now we're starting to see this Ashe starting to power up. I love this build, right? Maybe not the Hurricane, but I do like Rageblade and Bloodthirster on any auto attack based carry, Bloodthirster specifically. So this Ashe should be getting that ultimate really quickly, and the Ashe, when fully stacked, can stun lock you. So we've got the front line with things like Last Whisper, Shadow Last Whisper, Pantheon. Let's see how much time we can give that Ashe to ramp up.
Yeah, it's okay. So the final Whisper Slam here makes me think that in the selling the Ashe makes me think that Jose wants to perhaps pivot this over to just an Aphelios board. But we'll see exactly where they land on. Ashe is going to be fine at carrying for now. 3 skirms is cool. Decent. Yeah, 3 skirms is decent for the early game as well, and it's going to be good enough, it looks like, to beat Sylwander's board. Yes, the Draven is going to fall. It is only a Draven 1. So Jose, 6 HP, middle of the pack, HP in the lobby, but I think actually is gonna be in a decent spot right now.
We could go a couple different directions from Draconic. Like, we could go straight Econ if we want to. We could pivot into Skirmishers. And the thing about Pantheon, remember, folks, the reason why Varus Pantheon works is because of how Pantheon's auto attack is coded. So with things like Last Whisper, you're actually going to get the proc because it counts as a basic attack on that ult, right? So it's an AoE Last Whisper at that point. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Applied to a lot of things, and it's going to allow the Ashe, if she does, of course, well, actually just her auto attacks, right, and just shredded, so she'll just be basically more
armor
damage,
shred is what Ashe needs, right? That's part of the reason why Set is a Draconic unit, because without Set, Ashe would be nothing, right, because of the armor break. But now that you've invested that armor break into the Pantheon, the Ashe is going to be able to do a little bit more throughout these rounds. For example, I think if we didn't have some armor break, this would probably be like a 3-4 unit loss instead of just the 2 that we experienced.
Yeah, if the Ashe was protected against the Thresh as well, maybe it could have been a different story, but it wasn't. Ashe got hooked, Katarina finished her off. Jose unfortunately does not continue the win streak into the neutrals. But moving over to ImprobableBlob, another one of our forgotten players.
It's a baby comp.
Yeah, a lot of tier 1s. At least the front line, the tier 2 Ashe, and the Victor. Or sorry, the Vayne and the Victor in there.
Happy Pride.
A lot of shadow items already. Probably wants to land on another one after this round, and definitely wants to move over these things to a Draven too. See if they can land on a Draven after this roll down. Finds a Katarina pair. Already has the Victor. But,
I feel like the more you hope for something, the less likely it's going to appear in your pack. So, you know, like, the more you're like, Draven, the less likely the Draven's going to appear. That's like one of my superstitions when it comes to this game. But we're going to go ahead and transfer over those items to the Draven. I don't think... Did we get the Zeke's proc in time for that? Yeah, we did, because we have low auto attack speed with that snowflake on the Victor. I wonder how cold he is right now. But we've got Abomination with Frozen Heart. One of those items that's just like, you only build if for some reason you have those components. But anytime you build it, I feel like it will find some value. So it's one of those kind of like throwaway items that will give you something at least.
Yeah. Ooh, okay. Now with the Shadow Spatula. Oh, unfortunately rolls and does not have the gold to hit the Katarina 2. Needs to win or lock the round in order for that. But it's just going to land on a Cavalier emblem. And Cavalier Viego, I know in the late game, is going to be very, very solid. Cavalier as well, just to buff up the Hecarim tankiness. Hecarim is going to be able to actually provide so much time in this composition. The Rel as well. So ImprobableBlob has landed on a very, very nice, set of units here. Unfortunately, didn't hit any Rise and didn't hit the Draven pair yet. So while this is kind of looking pretty good with the items, still need to find the units, and HP is looking a little rough at this point.
HP is definitely looking a little rough. I mean, the thing is, 35 HP might not feel like the end of the world where we're at right now, but at 4-2, I feel like rock, paper, scissors really rings true. So it's really matchup dependent. But with Cavaliers, you actually bring almost every matchup a little bit closer to the middle. So I'm really intrigued to see where this Cav emblem is going to land. Hopefully it does end up on the Viego, because the Cav will supersede the assassin jump, I believe, and just like the extra defensive stats for someone like Viego, that's so much more value than what you're going to be getting out of this Katarina, which is a couple more, you know, ultimates, maybe some anti-heal versus a whole unit to yourself.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty good. But before we think about landing on the Viego, gotta land on the Draven too, and the Rise first.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, right?
Yep. Mirror matchup going against Forgotten v Forgotten. The Draven Frowlin Van, though, is taking a lot of damage very, very quickly, and is going to go down to the Warwick, actually. The Warwick resets, means this is going to be a round win for ImprobableBlob. The Rise not able to do nearly enough, and now Alan Van, both Forgotten players, down at the bottom.
Holding hands together. Oh no.
Yep.
There's always one of those comps that if someone just happens to be running it with you, you'll hold hands to the bottom, you know, and you'll just have to chill until one of you loses, right? And I think that's like one of the best ways to kind of overcome that is you have to just hope that you have an HP advantage. So when your shared comp, that person falls, you'll get those units to yourself. It's very much like a shark in the womb, right? Only one of you might be able to live in 7th or higher, but someo's probably going to land in 8th.
Speaking of somewhere where people are landing, Jose's landed on 5 Draconic.
23 gold, level 8, 4-5. So there's been some aggressive leveling here, to say the least.
Oh yeah, we it feels like it's only been a few rounds since we were here, and I guess it really was, but just really dumped all of the gold into levels. Has some really good items, right? The Final Whispers we were talking about on the Pantheon, and now okay, it's going to swap over the Locket, but still Locket is fantastic at this point in the in the game, and actually in every point in the game, to be honest. Now it goes against ImprobableBlob. The Katarina is going to jump away from the Ashe, so Ashe is going to be able to free hit.
Okay.
But then the Cav, she jumps back.
I know. It's like, oops, sorry. I forgot you were here. A lot of people will put that turret in the corner for what you just saw, which is to bait thresh hooks and other corner-based ultimates. But yeah, we get another Draconic win, and this is very scary for the rest of the lobby, because remember, the hard part is is getting to those golden eggs with enough HP and power to actually crack them. Because once you do, your power level increases immediately. Because like we just saw, an item just popped out, right? So another one of these might pop out another item, and then we have one more item than everyone else. And so that's an advantage only you have. But looking at the board, we have 3 Draconic players. 2 of them are on fire. 3 people on fire on top of the leaderboard. But the fact that the Draconic players are here still with this amount of HP is terrifying for the rest of the lobby.
Yeah, and that's admirable. Just leveled to 8 as well. Jose's already been on level 8. Is not going to run 5 Draconic forever. Will probably, as soon as they find better units, take out a couple of these Draconics at least. Maybe even 3 of them. But let's see if the Ash can clean up. No, not looking like it's able to. Actually going to take the loss against Alan Van and the Forgottens in this round. Alan landed on a Lulu 2. A solid 7th unit for that composition. Now Jose, yeah, the pivot's coming through right now. Sold the Udyr. It's on 4 Draconic. Probably wants to sell another one. So yeah, the set's probably going to be the one to go goodbye. And it will.
Oof. 40 this gold is the hardest part, man, about Draconic is who the other units are going to be, right? Because you don't have any ingrained synergies when it comes to Draconic. So when you're coming out of it, you have to think about, okay, we're probably going to drop most of our Draconics anyway. Where are we going to go from here? Because you have 4 choices, right? Technically, you have Brawlers. You're not going to go that way. You could go Skirmishers. You could go Renewer, Invoker. You could go a bunch of different directions. And it looks like we're going to go the Invoker route with the Ivern and the Teemo. And this is probably one of the most underrated tier 2 units in the game, which is this Taric, who can fully heal your team if aimed correctly, but that's not a guarantee.
Yeah, it needs everything to clump around it. This roll down from Jose actually gonna be pretty solid. Landed on a Kindred, a Taric 2, a Rel 2, gets to fully itemize the Heimer now with the Shadow Hodge. This is solid. Final Whisper, I suppose. Okay, on the Teemo, which is not the most amazing thing, but still has a lot of gold left to roll down with, still on 30, and looks like is going to be winning this round. Actually, maybe not. The A-bomb comes out, and even though the items aren't fantastic, it's just a lot of raw HP.
And a frozen heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that really actually matters in kind of those backline situations where you have to get there. You're going to be taking damage walking there, and then the frozen heart locks in, and that's your comeback potential on that abomination. Hopefully not receiving too much damage before you get there. But now we're starting to see tier 2 5-cost units as we're going over to Sonikzo. Who I flirt with on Twitter all the time for no reason. But you should read our comments to each other. It's very wholesome. But yeah, Sonic is someone who has been waiting to get here for a very, very long time. Big supporter of Fight Night Rising, and we'll see if this Karma with okay items on it, more than okay items, is going to be able to take down these forgotten comps, because we don't have the 4 invokers, just the 2, and so getting to this first ultimate has taken a little while, but we do have a lot of damage coming through. The Karma should be okay.
Oh yeah.
There it is, 1,000 damage, 5 HP, but a Karma, I think, can bring you back from 5 HP. If there is a unit in the game that is kind of good against everything outside of, like, I think Karma is bad against the least amount of stuff when it comes to this lobby right now.
Yeah, I would say Karma is like pretty much going to be considered good against everything, but she also isn't like great against many things. So there is going to be the option to where she can fall, whether it be to a random Viego or just the Karma ultimates are going to be, you know, they're random. So if they just don't land on, say, an enemy Karma, and they do with the, oh yeah, that was like a 4 Invoker, Garen 2 board, like definitely not going to be as strong as that. Sonic's is sitting on a Nico's help, has no Garens. This is rough being on 5 HP. The comp is decent, and as you mentioned as well, the Karma has great items, but no mana items, and no 4 Invoker means that she's going to be scaling up a lot slower. Doesn't even get her first ultimate off where she's already CC'd by the Ivern and Daisy, and now the A-Bomb gets back there, and yeah, this looks like it's going to be lights out for Sonics in this one, and it is. That's admirable. Taking out Sonics. First elimination of the game.
Sonic, we want to, you said you wanted the interview. We got to get you up there, man. There's still a lot of hope because we've had, I think recently, a lot of people get 8th place and then win the day based on the other results. But we have our completed item. Whoa, we have our completed item carousel right now with some pretty good units too. One thing, though, that is an observation, even though the patch didn't change that much, we don't have a single redeemed player, I believe.
That is very true. I don't believe we do. That's interesting. I wonder if it's just everyone. It's the TFT special, man. And something gets nerfed, everyone's like, okay, the comp's dead. Not gonna go anymore. But it's like such a minor nerf.
We had a fight night, right, where someone played a nerfed comp and won. Like the day, I believe. I think it was like, I forget which comp it was, but basically no one was going that comp, and it just wasn't nerfed that much, and they ended up winning the night. So again, just because things are nerfed doesn't mean they are bad. Remember, Mort has always said that like he wants to do less big changes where skirmishes are good for this patch and then awful for this patch. We're trying to get to the middle, and I think that's a really good example.
Definitely. A nice unit spread, actually, for ThatsAdmirable against the Karma board. Now, if Karma does hit the Heimerdinger, oh no, the Garen did as well. The Garen proc the Trap Claw, so Garen gets stunned out. Heimerdinger, oh, okay, gets to cast another baby turret. The Zyra is going to be in the back lines, continuing to free cast. Is not going to kill the Karma as of yet. Needs to really CC lock this. The A-bomb comes out for the support and the damage. The Zyra ult misses, and because of that, the Karma takes out the A-bomb.
Oh, thrilling. When people say TFT could be hard as a spectator sport, I say that is not true. That stuff is thrilling. Whenever you see that happen, there's always like you'll always get a physical reaction out of me. That's what I live for in TFT. And 2 people were eliminated that round. And Improbable did actually a really good job hanging on. Unfortunately, the rest of the lobby ended up falling as well to this point where everyone is at most 2 fights of HP within each other.
Yeah, ImprobableBlob takes 7th. Sill Wanders, our winner from last week, takes 6th on our top 5. Jose Paulo, also one of the Draconic players, still has the Heimer 1, Ash 2. The A-bomb gets in there with Frozen Heart, but still, there's just so many units from Jose's board. A-bomb's just getting dealt with super effectively.
And only 2 items on that A-bomb. We got the A-bomb at max rank, but we don't have max items on it just yet. No. So there's still power that we can invest. Let's see what we're going to get. Ooh, Rageblade, though. So this could be better on the Abomination. I mean, we have to get, in my opinion, something. Because Rageblade with Frozen Heart can actually be quite effective, but the only way is if you're not bursted down immediately, right? It wouldn't have mattered in that last round. So is it going to matter moving forward? We'll find out.
Yeah, there's consideration for playing on the A-bomb, or I suppose the Teemo as well. You can think of that if you want a Teemo to be carrying. It's going to be less likely with each loss that comes through for ThatsAdmirable that we can achieve a Teemo 2. Has a lot of gold to roll down with, however. Even after leveling up, maybe about 20. So the level comes through. Probably just going to put the Garen in. Volibear is also a potential, so once put that in as well, it does give not only the Brawler, but also the Revenant. Probably sells the Nunu and continues rolling. Not going to land on Nunu 3, and yeah, the Rageblade does go on the Teemo as opposed to the A-Bomb. A-Bomb's really just there for the front line, the tank.
Still can't believe Revenant was the movie Leonardo got his Oscar for. Anyway, DiCaprio.
I haven't seen it.
Exactly. So now this Teemo is going to be attacking pretty fast, especially with especially with that static shiv or a stiletto. It's going to be ripping them apart. Plus, they're not going to be able to heal because the Heimerdinger. There's really good synergy between those units, and we do pull out the victory on this round. We're going to put that Rageblade on the Teemo to proc that stiletto, and we're going to win because of it.
Oh my, 3 eliminations happened in that round. Corley, oh no, gets the bottom 4 there, minus 6 HP. Alan Van gets 4th for the top 4, also minus 6 HP, and Koala gets 3rd. So now all of a sudden, it is the players who are running Draconic in the early game that they were low HP early, but they've scaled up. They've scaled to be 1 and 2.
This was almost one of like the most stereotypical Draconic games you could ever see, right? This is how you're supposed to do it. Both players taking similar approaches, but slightly different beginnings, right? We had the Zyra start for Admirable, and for Jose, it was definitely more on the Ashe side. So, yeah, we'll see who's going to race, because the difference now is Jose has invested a lot into units now that we are out of Draconic, where Admirable is at level 9. So we have an extra unit, and we did just... Is the caster going to beat the players at the end of the day here? We're one round away, potentially, and... we can't show bias, but that's
looking like cool. It's looking like it. I mean, just looking at the comps, right? ThatsAdmirable is on 9, has the Heimer 2. Meanwhile, Jose is level 8, did not hit the Ashe 3, did not hit Heimer 2, is even close to it. It looks like ThatsAdmirable is going to clean up game number 1. I don't really think there's much that Jose Paulo can do. Maybe a desperation reposition, saying that maybe something else can work out. The Rise is going to move to the back lines, but as a kind of bait, I suppose, for the A-bomb, and then, I don't know, bursting it, but not looking likely. We'll see.
First Shroom's actually not that valuable for Admirable, but we're still getting a good amount of damage from Jose here. This is a little bit closer than I would have expected. Clutch Kindred ult to get at least another Teemo ult out, and we weren't able to get to the back line. Teemo is starting to ramp up, and we missed the Ivern, but Jose is going to take the victory here. We're going to go to the carousel for our last 1v1. This is coming down to 12 HP and 10 HP. Where's the item gonna go?
Jose sneaking through the carousel mechanics, grabbing the Shadow Shroud. ThatsAdmirable doesn't really know what they want to land on. What did they end up picking? I actually
nothing.
Didn't see. Well,
yeah, I think the game picked it.
Oh, and Jose now gets Ashe 3 and won the last round. If that fight goes anywhere near what it does last time, or did last time, oh, okay. The upgrades do come through, however, for ThatsAdmirable. Ivern 2 and Voli 2. So upgrades all around the board. Jose Paulo is going to wait till buying the Ashe till just, final couple seconds.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're ever in this position, because I was thinking that too, you read my mind, you want to put your tier 3 unit in at the very last second sometimes, because it's just a little bit of a mind game to your opponent. But here we go. This should be... Shroud. The last match, and the Shroud is going to hit the Heimerdinger for Admirable, and that could actually be pretty rough. We get the first AoE damage as well, and it actually misses the Heimerdinger in the backline for Admirable. The Teemo is pretty safe, and the A-bomb actually doing a really good job frontlining. I think it stopped in a pretty okay position, but in the end, it's the power from that Ashe 3, 12k damage, bringing Jose to number 1. Draconic, again, getting second place. So we'll see if we're going to see more of that Draconic, because in Fight Night Rising, like you say, there's a pattern of tactical borrowing when a comp does win.
Yeah, I mean, compositions, if there are already 2 people running Draconics, I don't really think there's going to be room for maybe many more to scale into the late game like that, but it was still very, very well done by both ThatsAdmirable and Jose. I thought ThatsAdmirable was looking pretty strong, right? Heimer 2 still landing on the Teemo, but just wasn't able to seal the deal. And with the Ashe 3, that was kind of the nail in the coffin for that one. Jose taking the first game, and with that, let's take a look at the scores. So see refresher memories of where everyone landed in the last game. It's going to be Jose in first, ThatsAdmirable in second, Koala in third, Alan in fourth, Corley fifth, Sill Wanderers sixth, ImprobableBlob seventh, and Sonikzo in eighth. But still, just game number 1, Boop, so it's not over yet. And as you were mentioning before, players start out the day with an 8th place or a low placement and can still come back into the top 3, if not still win. So no one's out quite yet.
No one, not at all. I mean, if you get 8th place, you do have to try to get your top 4s in the next 3 lobbies, right? You have to still, you're in control of your own destiny when it comes to this part, because if you're not in 8th place, someone else has to be, right? And that seems really simple, but I think sometimes you make a mistake and don't think that far in front, right? It's just like, okay, I got 8th. All I want to do now is not get 8th, right? Maybe I'm going to win the 3rd lobby, but it's good to kind of plan out your ideas before you do get in here, as we have our lobby winner from the last lobby playing Draconic. I wonder if Admirable is going to do the same thing. But what was really impressive about both of these Draconic players is how they got out of it. I know a lot of people have a really hard time getting out of Draconics. Do you go from 5 to 3 and then to your comp? Do you go from 5 to nothing? Do you just change everything out? Because, there's a lot of anchors that you could use for that comp, and both players doing quite well in figuring out what those anchors were going to be. It was the A-bomb, which I think will always have less laking potential than what Jose was running at the end, which was that Ash 3.
Yeah, and while the A-bomb I think was it was solid for ThatsAdmirable, it did the job. The items were definitely kind of scuffed, and I think that's one of the reasons why it didn't end up coming with the victory. If that was like, say, like a War Mugs and like a Death Blade or like a Death Cap, there is like something like that, then I think the A-bomb definitely could have taken it. It was still a good look from ThatsAdmirable. It was still just win the lobby on HP to stabilize and then get into the top 2. So nothing really at fault there, but I do agree with you. It is rather tricky because sometimes I think it mostly depends on how many units that you land on your roll down to replace the Draconics. If you land on, everything, then sure, you can take out all your Draconics and just run the ones that were, carrying you. But if not, then you might have to stick with 5 or 3 Draconic for just a bit longer, making you that money until you can land on units to replace it.
It can be a mini money printing tree if you have like the right game, right? Like Jose had that money printing Draconic comp until he didn't, and so we're going to start off with some a little. This is the Draconic Skirmisher, Forgotten Abomination, Ranger Legionnaire comp here for Jose. No, I say that because it's like at the beginning you're just figuring stuff out, right? There's no need to commit too early, right? You don't want to be like a clinger to these comps. Right? Because a lot of them will change up. Some of them won't, but forcing comps is not something you see a ton of at this point, but you can. And sometimes when we see those comps get forced, they do quite well. So forced comps that are like this is going to be the Hellion comp. We have the Hellion opening, and we're going to level up and get some more units. Ziggs and Varus should be able to take down at least one unit. Oh, maybe not these. So we'll see. Sonic has a pretty good start here.
That brings us to the shields. ThatsAdmirable saying, I don't want to reroll Hellions at all, so we're going to be leveling up instead. Yeah, they do take out one. Hellions are good at doing that. Same with the Varus. It's probably going to be all they're going to get, however.
Yep. We had this this is deja vu from our pregame conversation, right? Hellions are so good at getting one unit, exactly. And we're going to get that too, but one unit has been the difference between second and third by the end of the game, right? How many times have we seen, I mean, literally just last lobby where people were tied, right? At the end of the game. If one Ziggs at round 2-2 doesn't take down that Morgana, you might have gotten a better or worse position there. But now we're going to avoid those Hellions. We have some good tank items, and something that I think a lot of people have a hard time doing is building tank items. In the early game, I think offensive items feel really fun, but it's always good to get your front line going first, because of any set, I actually believe this is the hardest to create that front line early.
Front line now for ThatsAdmirable. Going to be a couple of brawlers in the Pantheon, so completely saying screw you to the Hellions. Gonna be getting those out of there. Sold every single one of them. And now for Sill Wanderers, gonna be the Pantheon with a Bramble and a belt. Landing on a decent skirmisher composition. Skirmishers still not the best in this meta. They're okay getting you top 4s sometimes, but by no means are they dominant. Maybe with Redeemed being a little bit less priority, you can make more of an argument for skirmishers because not as many Vel'Kozes that are going to be just deleting you. And Redeemed Vel'Kozes were the major skirmisher comp just a couple of patches ago. So maybe with that in mind, actually, skirmishers are a bit better this patch.
Well, and skirmishers are always, this is one of those things that applies to all comps, but it's like single percentage points that separate them. But what I'm trying to say is that skirmishers are one of those comps that when you lock in earlier, you actually take a ton of HP out of the rest of the lobby, right? So it's really all about that timing. If you say you don't get Jax until 5-2, you're probably going to maybe get a top 4, but if you lock in your skirmishers, you have your 6 skirmishers at like 3-3, you're gonna go from 3-3 to 4-1 and take a lot of HP away, especially if you do land on that Jax. So there's a lot of potential there, but we did decide to go away from it, as I was talking about it, and we're going to move into Abomination instead with a little bit of bowing. I mean, maybe we're getting ready for the Olympics, right? Archery is one of those things, and a Bramble Vest as well.
Yeah, Bramble for the front line and for the A-bomb. Bow gonna be in the Callista. Gonna want to make that into a Runeance. Shadow Runeance preferred. There the A-bomb comes through. And it's probably gonna be enough Yeah, Trundle doesn't even get the chance to steal any stats. So Wanders makes that 100 HP win streak go all the way until Carousel. Sonikzo did lose that last round, looks like, so they're probably going to go to 99. Yep. 99 HP. So Wanders, last pick priority. That's admirable. Down at 82. So that's admirable. Does seemingly have a trend to go very low in HP, then stabilize as soon as the mid game comes around. Jose as well, actually, both of them still towards the bottom once again.
This is exactly how the last game started. So don't ever take your eyes off of the bottom members of the leaderboard, because no matter what game it is, someone in the bottom three will probably have like the strongest, maybe even the strongest comp by 4-1-4-2. The game, again, I say this every fight night, the game naturally evens out by the end game as power gets maxed out. You actually saw it with Admirable at the very, very end, where the A-bomb kind of got maxed out against that comp. But now we're going to put in another brawler to give Nunu a little bit of another opportunity to have some food. We have the Runin's Hurricane.
Yeah,
the
Shadow.
So this is a pretty good start, as we're going to throw that Runins onto Arnold once he comes back out.
Yeah, this is fantastic for Sill Wonders being last pick and getting a shadow cloak. Even though it was on a 1 cost, it's still, I think, just having the item for the A-bomb is going to be well worth it. So going to be probably protecting that 100 HP streak up against Corley's composition as soon as this Udyr dies. A-bomb coming out. And yeah, this round is definitely a win. Okay, it doesn't even need to come out. Arnold is still just chilling in the grave full time.
Oh man, it's a full-time job chilling sometimes.
They really do.
Sometimes I really do be like that. We have Draconic. See, this is the tactical borrowing, friend. Like, once the comp wins, someone else inevitably plays it. But what can happen is the two people who did win with it stop playing it because they're like, other people are going to play this now. And so right now, Korra could potentially be the only one playing Draconic. And like, those are the mental kind of games I love about TFT. It's just, it's unstated. You don't actually need to interact physically with the other players. It's all about your choices that cause that interaction between the rest of the lobby. It's really cool.
Yeah. It was a little awkward in that last, or going into this round, because Corley has a full bench, so the Draconic Egg popped and wasn't able to get a unit out of it. It just auto-converted into gold because the bench was full. Corley is just going on a loss streak, however, and as long as she's able to kill 2 units, this isn't bad. Going to be 78 HP. Oh, actually? Yeah, 78 HP. Oh yeah, I didn't see the Clud there. The Clud with the almost dead HP bar. Not quite. But 78 with a 4 loss streak, definitely still going to be solid. 20 gold. Gonna look to make that up to 30 here. Not a bad start for being a Draconic player.
No, not at all. Draconic should be at the bottom of the leaderboard. If not, the rest of the lobby is just really weak, right? If like singular units like an Ashe and a Set can take down your comp and a bunch of comps at once, because we've seen that in our game, it just means the lobby is a little slow, which is always going to be better for comps like Draconic that need the lobby to go slow, right? So you don't want to play the Draconic player's game. You want to eliminate them as quickly as possible. And sometimes you just don't hit the Heimerdinger, right? And you don't hit level 8 in time, and you can just beef out on this comp. And we're still kind of just using money as our way to use our Draconic right now. We're not super worried about the units, it seems like, more about the econ, but we have a ton of econ on the bench that aren't Draconic units that would have put us at 50 HP or 50 econ. So curious to see where this is going to end up going and why we still have our Dawnbringer units on the bench.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, no items are slammed, right? So the options are open for pretty much anything. Dawnbringers could very well be the play. Just a bunch of tanky items right now. It really only has a couple offensive components and doesn't want to commit to an IE at this point in the game. I wouldn't say I blame them. Really just going to see, I think, what the armory will bring from 3-2. Does slam the Declaw on set. That's not bad. Declaw can get a lot of value in multiple different compositions. Just slap that on a frontline unit. That's admirable. 0 gold. 3-1.
The frontline units are so important to get locked in as early as possible. You only need 2, really, at the early game to let your backline start really shaping up. But we have we have Korra still on this Draconic. We're moving over to Alan, who's finally we're seeing this Hellion comp. 4 Hellions, 2 Knights. This is a reroll comp, so we're probably going to see Alan stick around at level 5, maybe go to 6 and wait a little later, but I wouldn't do that. And so we're going to see this item, and if we're going to commit to the Hellions, this is where you're going to have to make that decision.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Alan's going to be re-rolling in this game. Yeah, it's going to level up to 6. It's really just using it as a bridge to get you to the late game. If we land on a Lulu, this could be a 5 Hellions into a fast 8, and then find a Teemo and pivot it into like a 3 Hellion, maybe even 5 Hellion Teemo board. Looks solid. Rel is found, and that's going to be a snap pickup from Alan. Going to want to remain on hopefully 30 gold if Alan wins the round. With a Ziggs 2 upgrade and with a Rel, it's going to make it a lot easier to do that with. And this Kled assuredly, with the Shadow Warmog, is going to be able to tank a lot of damage. Alan doesn't have to stick with the Hellions at all. Actually, this could be a few different things, but it could even be like it could be honestly redeemed. It could be Dawnbringer still. Unlikely to be if we're not considering holding any of these units like Lux or holding any Dawnbringers either. So probably it's looking to be a like Invoker board in the late stages of the game.
Invoker was my choice for the class that was going to rotate out on Mort's tweet. Oh, there's a little everyone go to Mort's Twitter. There's a little competition right now that's really fun. It's a really good thought experiment too, in terms of what apparently one person has guessed 6 correct, has a perfect like these are the units going out and this is the synergy going out. So someone has the right answer in that thread if you want to try to look for it. But yeah, I think Spellweavers might be on the chopping block too, a la Dazzlers from last set. So yeah. But less about the future and more about the present. Alan.
Coven, get him out of here.
I know, right? I would actually be pretty surprised if Coven stayed around.
Yeah.
Personally. Because any of those like just classic 3 locks are going to be tough to kind of expand upon as we move forward. But yeah, this Warmog's on the Kled is actually super nice because now when he dismounts, he just gets a lot of attack speed. So you're going to be pushing a little bit more damage than you would have expected just because you're alive a little bit longer. And while we don't get a kill there, say Ziggs ults, that would have been enough to take that Gragas down. But I mean, that's a wipe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. Take down Alan. Yeah, that's a 6-0.
Nocturne 2 with 2 fantastic items. I mean, assassins are not dead. It's just hard to, get them online in the face of all these other really great meta comps. But definitely possible. Looking at Jose here, yeah, has the Shadow Locket, has 2 fantastic Nocturne items. This is looking like it's going to be a Nocturne 3 reroll kind of game. Early game was very rough, but Jose is pretty stable at this point. 4 assassins. Has a couple Dawnbringers as well with the Gragas, and the Callista is just there to look pretty, I suppose. But yeah, like she gets.
That's why I'm here too.
you offer more value than that, Boop. Come on.
Yeah, that's true. I'm also kind of funny. But anyway, usually I like thank you. Usually I like start being super self-deprecating there, but today I'm going to take the victory. Thank you for the compliment. I will accept it. But, compliments to this lobby, especially the top 3 right now, which has gotten some bullying done on everyone else. Whenever there's a spread like this, you can tell that the 2 people in front are just racing right now, and it's all about just holding on until they start getting caught up naturally because of the power levels of these bottom comps starting to power up. As, again, weak early game comps tend to be very strong late game comps. That's how the game is designed, right? So now that we see Jose winning, this is kind of like a key for other people in the lobby saying, okay, things are starting to tighten up. People are starting to get their comps and their items online. My lead might not be as safe as I thought it was.
No. Not at all, especially when there's these strong of compositions here. I think actually Jose is looking like probably the strongest member in the lobby. Okay, there is Sonikzo has landed on a Yasuo 2 already actually with a Jeweled Gauntlet, so that's gonna be very, very strong. Still, even I believe the Nocturne would be strong enough to take that out, and we do have a redeem player as well. So game number 1 was just a bit of a fluke. Game number 2. Looks like people are going back to it, saying, hey, if there's no redeem players, maybe it's actually still okay.
No redeemed. I am a little surprised. No redeemed. That Lux nerf like wasn't that bad. Vel'Koz didn't get touched. I mean, it was actually pretty minimal in my opinion, but that's why I'm not playing. Apparently, I'm wrong. So I definitely will do some experimenting on that on my... Oh, here it is. We have a redeem comp right here. Okay, yep. in second place. So we've got ImprobableBlob now. I wonder if we're going to move some of those Lux items over, though. Maybe we don't invest in it. Maybe we put, like, kind of our leftover items on Lux and invest in something like a Syndra. Remember Beta Syndra, the softball comp? That was great. But the actually we're building on the Lux still. So yeah, I think this comp is still great. I don't know why this is the first time we're seeing it, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's mainly just like a game one. Randomly, no one played it, so it's probably Blob sitting here thinking probably, oh, okay, no one goes it, it's free. I'm just gonna go it uncontested and still be solid. And yeah, like you're mentioning, I think it is a very, very solid comp still. The nerfs weren't that bad, all things considered. So we're gonna be considering iteming out the Lux, and we already have a tier, so just need one sword, and that's perfect Lux build. Sword? Okay, no sword right there, but still gonna be leveling to 7. Roll down, hopefully find a Rel, finds a pair of Vel'Kozes, finds the Aatrox, so we have 6 redeemed regardless.
Ooh.
Oh, Kale actually rolls past it.
Oh, okay. It's Kale might be in a bad spot when you prefer to run your Lux over it. With like very similar, with the Rage Blade and stuff. But I think Lux is actually more consistent, right? She's more predictable. Kale depends more on the front line, right? Which we don't really have a lot of right now, especially with our Leona and Aatrox being 1 star. But we have 6 redeemed, and this power is all in the back line anyway. We have enough with the Thresh. Thank goodness we have a Thresh too, or else we would literally have tissue paper as a front line. But now we have enough time to get to our first ultimate for the Lux. We should protect the Vel'Koz through the Vel'Koz ultimate. This comp just has such insane synergy with each other because of the peel with the Syndra. You got your DPS regular stuff from the Varus with auto attack upgrades, potentially for the backline, and for Lux, that's really, really good. Yeah, 92 HP. There's a reason. This, I think, will be a little weaker in the late game, but as of right now, there hasn't really been a huge difference.
Nico's help being the offer from ImprobableBlob, but just gonna go with a tier instead. Redemption on the Vel'Koz is actually pretty solid considering the belt was already just stuck on him. So I like that. I like that indeed. Redemption going to be providing a bit of healing for the backline and AoE resistance, which if things are going to end up killing Lux, that's probably going to be it. The Thresh is really just a rel waiting room for all these items, but Thresh is still going to do a great job at tanking thus far. Comp is certainly putting itself together pretty well. The roll down was a bit unfortunate, though. Could have actually ended on Aatrox too, but I believe ImprobableBlob did skip an Aatrox. Really just wanted to find the rel and skip the Kale as well. And as you were mentioning, right, the Kale really only pops off when the front line is there. And sure, Kale got changed recently to whereas a little bit more of her power is front loaded as opposed to just scaling up after she ascends. Still not good enough in terms of ImprobableBlob's view on it, however. So the assassins make their way to the back line, take out the Lux, take out the Vel'Koz. Jose still dominating after getting this Nocturne online, 5-win streak.
And I mean, Nocturne does not like magic. Apparently, he takes down the Lux super quick, but it actually wasn't the Nocturne that was the biggest difference there. Is the Katarina, because Lux walked up a hex and Katarina turned her around. So there wasn't an ability to help maybe another unit. I don't think the shield actually helped all that much. The second shield, I think, kind of went nowhere. But we do have Sill Wanders already at 64 HP at 4-3. That's a 1% hit on the Heimerdinger. And it's been 3 rounds, it looks like, already. So we probably hit the Heimerdinger on 4-1. Definitely keep looking at Sill's HP there, because that's about to probably get on fire once those eggs hatch.
Yep. Lux shield's coming through, but Thresh still goes down. Koala running some Forgottens, running the Draven. Draven has very, very good items, so might actually, takes out the Lux. Oh, the Vel'Koz cast comes through, though, and barely is able to eke out the win. Oh, man, what a close round. And with that, ImprobableBlob could sell the Aatrox to go to 40 gold. It's going to sit on the pair, it looks like, however.
Sitting on the pair. Okay, So now that I think this carousel is probably one of the more impactful ones, not only because you've got access to 5 and 4 cost units. A lot of these items only have one other item on the bench to really go towards. I've had a lot of games recently where I only get gold and units on Raptors.
Yeah.
So now that we have the belt, for example, this is you have to kind of assume on this carousel that I don't think it's a guarantee you're going to get an item on Raptors unless you, of course, count it out and you know those numbers. But I think this is kind of like the last chance you can make to personally affect your team in the way that you want to, right? And so you're going to finish out these items potentially because I like getting value out of my items, right? If you put your items on at 2-1, you're going to get 40 rounds, like you're going to get 20 rounds out of it versus putting them on at 4-1, where you'll get 10 rounds. Of course, there's pros and cons to each, but this particular carousel is exactly where a lot of people finish their comps and finish their direction and lock some things in and kind of say things like, okay, I'm not going to do well for the rest of the game, or I'm going to do great. Tier on Garen is great. You can put a redemption on him if you want. So let's see if that's going to end up working out. Big Volibear ult, though. Volibear's so good against Lux. I think the ult timing on Volibear needs to be a little bit better, like specifically for Lux, because Lux tends to ult after the Volibear, which is exactly what you don't want if you're the Volibear.
Oh, the Karma. Oh, the Karma damage doesn't go through. The Karma actually got dragged towards the center by the Thresh, and with that, the first Vel'Koz ult was able to proc the Dawnbringer. And yeah, clearly, even with being level 8, even with rolling down so much gold, is still losing some of these rounds. Landed on the Volibear as well. Okay, ends up just selling the Ivern that was holding the defensive items. The tier on Garen was because Corley grabbed this Garen from Carousel. Alright, this Eclipse Cape gonna go on the Kha'Zix. It's gonna spread some damage into the back line. And heal reduction as well. Scouting around. We have a full Hellion play. Looked like a Hellion spat from Alan Van.
Oh man, so that is like the one thing I do like about Hellions is the Hellion spat. When you see like the character deflate when you put it on. But I mean, as of right now, it seems like that's been the only positive of any Hellions, just the idea of seeing someone put a Hellion spat on so far on these comps. But yeah, we've got Jewel Gauntlet, the Shadow Giant Slayer, and we finally get a win.
Oh yeah, fine. Do get a win. I think I won a couple rounds earlier. But going up against level 7 Koala with only 30 gold, Koala in a bit of a rough spot. Corley really needs to find Garen 2. I think Garen 2 and maybe Corley can salvage a top 4, but it is not looking good for here. Especially not with 3 items in the Karma. 1 belt and 1 tier free. Corley's looking like she's gonna get some items here. Problem is, there are already a lot of units out that she does want.
Yeah, this is, I think, what you would probably assume to be the most contested comp coming into the day, as we actually get 2 items for Raptors. I honestly couldn't tell you the last time I got 2 items from Raptors.
Yeah, Curly didn't get that. It was only on a few.
Yeah, I also have this weird luck of getting a lot of items early. Like that's just like the game. I don't know. I feel like the game knows certain people and it's like, I know Chris is playing, so I'm gonna give him everything early so he doesn't know what to do with it. I just want him to suffer. So thanks, Mort. Appreciate it. But no, I love playing that way anyway. So
True.
I'm just kind of seeing where a lot of these items are going to go. I love the Zephyr, especially in the corner that we're only going to get the turret. So now we know that we're going to have to move over 1 hex. That wasn't going to be a Karma. And remember, we can scout out based off of who our previous opponents were. We can assume on a 25% chance of where we're going to end up. But this Karma is doing quite good. At least we got here, right? 14 HP. That was pretty late. We spent a lot of money on leveling, but we have now the ability to go to 9, and we have already stabilized. So the potential's here, but there was such a lead created on the top 3 a little earlier that there's still so much time to go for Coralie to even kind of smell the top 4 at this point.
Yeah. Definitely. Honestly, that round was a little bit lucky in terms of sniping Sylwander's carry, which was the Heimerdinger, the Garen Shred, and then Karma had 1 or 2 great ultimates that did crit, I believe. And while I do love the Zephyr, I don't like the Zephyr being slammed quite in that way. The Zephyr was just slammed on the Nidalee, whereas Corley could have made it on the bench, and then Zephyr'd a very specific unit, which could very well, when you're 14 HP, be the difference between you, dodging 8th or not. Not punished in that round, however, so ends up working out. Sill Wanders is going to already right now level up to level 9. Wow. Put a Rise and another Ash 1, it looks like, on the board. This Heimer, though, really is the main carry for Sill. And no. Okay, Ash does go in, but the Shadow Runelands is going to be on the rise for a bit of A-bomb power. I do like that. I do like that a lot.
We've got the Ostrich Egg on the bench, too. So if
Yeah,
we're able,
yeah,
and we only have 17 HP, which is a little surprising since we've had Draconic 5 for so long. The item drops just must not have been that great, as we get a huge ultimate from Volibear, and then the Diana. Oh man, that is exactly what you didn't want to see from Sill Wanders. This Abomination should get us another round, but we're going to lose by 4 units, it looks like. So we have one more round, 4 HP, and Draconic 5. If we get to a point where that egg breaks, that would be huge, because there's probably going to be a Nikos in it, or another good 5-cost unit. Maybe that Heimerdinger comes back. But yeah, we're all kind of just waiting.
Oh man, this is kind of rough. So Wander's on a 7-loss streak, and this Heimer 2 double Shojins with Jewel Gauntlet, like, kind of insane. And 4 A-bomb. Gonna be taking out the 5 Draconic. Looks like wants to probably put the Udi doesn't need to be there. Okay, I guess we take out the set. Probably Udyr to get the Warmugs off it would have been fantastic, but the Shadow Shroud's gonna have great value here, landing on the whole clump of ImprobableBlob's board.
ImprobableBlob has had an interesting day today, starting off with Draconic, not really that great, and then moving on over to this recently nerfed comp. Lux is notoriously good against Abomination, just based on who she is, but this is a lot of damage coming out of that A-bomb. But yeah, we get it anyway without this Ash. The Lux might... Man, that is a long stun. Might take down. No. We actually get the ult off. Is that enough? No! That was so close to a win from Improbable, and Sill's gotta be clenching a little bit because that was close.
Yeah, and Corley was praying for Sill to go out there as well, because without Sill going down, Corley takes the 8th. -1 HP. It feels bad, man. There, Koala Little on 1 HP. Sill Wanders on 4. Alan Van at 7 HP. This lobby, at least towards the bottom of the pack, really have to scrape their hardest for each placement.
Whew, I knew after seeing this roster today that this was going to be the kind of game that we were going to get. As we've dropped down to 3 Draconics, we're moving into Abominations specifically. Are we going to try to put in our Viego? No, we still have about 2-3 rounds for this giant egg as well.
There we go.
Are these Anivia eggs? Could you imagine a Dragon Anivia skin where, like, when she goes into egg form, it's this? I think that'd be sick.
That'd be pretty cool.
That. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, the Shroud's not gonna land on anything this round. Going up against Alan Van though. Volibear now in Ivern 2. Depends on where the Teemo Shrooms land. Heimer cast. Oh, that's a big Heimer ultimate. You got a second one. No, the Teemo Shrooms. Now it's up to the A-bomb. It's up to the A-bomb, but he's not going to be able to do enough, it looks like, or will he? Oh my, now it's down to the Ash, but no, the Ash is going to fall to the Teemo and the Heimer. And
thrilling. He will fall.
There we go.
Yeah, it's a little... That bug's been happening a little bit.
Yeah, it's happened a lot. It's a little... It debates you. It debates you sometimes.
Still, my favorite bug that I hope never changes is Morgana disappearing when she ults. She turns into, like, a spirit bomb, which I feel like is actually more thematic than the actual... It's, like, more appropriate for some reason. But yeah, 1 HP for Koala, 7 for Alan, 21 here for ThatsAdmirable, with A-bomb 5, second time running this comp. So the last time we did it, we got second. So why is the success this time so different for all of our Draconic players so far?
In terms of just like the lobby dynamic,
Yeah,
or
exactly. Because at this point, Admirable was in the top three, fighting for the win. Right. This time around, we're going to lose
uh,
potentially, and maybe get fourth.
I mean, it's looking kind of similar, at least until that last round. To be honest, it's just that like the lobby HP was it just happened to be a bit more similar in the what's it called in the previous lobby, but this composition is kind of similar from That's Admirable. Sure, he's not in a position where he can go 9. It's going to be a little bit weaker. The Heimerdinger 2 isn't a Heimer 2 yet, so it's going to be falling off a bit faster. Also, the A-bomb items still aren't really that great. That's Admirable, I think, is going to be slamming these just these early game items like a Sunfire. That, well, sure, yeah, I can let you win streak in the early game. It's not going to scale as well as like a Warmugs or a Bramble or a Deathcap or something like that onto the A-bomb later, a bit later on. So that's probably why. Just a stronger lobby as well in general, it looks like, right now. Especially with ImprobableBlob running the redeemed comp uncontested, like Jose running the assassins. Roll down comes through, find an Ivern 2,
Yeah,
but
there's
not a great way to fit it in. Unless we okay. Check out the set.
Yeah, and we
Buy
have
Draconic,
some.
that's fine.
Yeah, we have some units on the board that I think we're supposed to come in a little bit later. Yeah, this Morgana being one of them. We seem to have wanted at least 2 Mystics because we do have that redeemed comp, right? This is what you built the Mystics for. So really,
Ooh.
really good call from That's Admirable. But I don't know if 2 Mystics is going to be enough to
Yeah.
deal with this Vel'Koz. Like, the idea and play is right. You know what I mean? But even though it's right, we still might not have enough power to... Even though we did everything right, we're still going to lose.
Takes out the Lux in the background with the A-bomb, and now might be able to take out some more units
Oh,
here.
maybe not. I might have talked too
A-bomb
soon.
could do it.
Oh, the
A-bomb could do
stun,
it.
though.
No.
Oh, man, we've had some pretty crazy rounds today.
Close.
Alan needs to give Admirable a little bit of leeway, and he does. Alan gonna fall as well with 1 HP on that Pantheon, and with 1 HP being the difference, our caster is gonna be in 4th place, proving why he deserves his spot Fight Night Rising.
Definitely. What a fantastic performance getting into the top 4, albeit barely. Very, very close. And yeah, looking at all of these compositions are in the top 3. That's kind of why everyone else landed in the bottom 5. We have a Yasuo 3 composition from Sonikzo and ImprobableBlob running the Redeemed. Jose having an Assassin board. Sonikzo is doing pretty well here. Still hasn't landed on Diana 2, but that's okay. The Shroud's going to land on Diana and Viego. Not bad. Now it's going to be Yasuo really versus the world.
Yeah, this is one of those examples of locking in some of your skirmishers early, helping out, because this Yasuo was there, I think, from the very beginning, from an orb. We got the skirmisher help, but this comp, which used to literally run TFT back in the day, just doesn't have as much late game potential as it used to. The units that are in this are notoriously vulnerable against burst damage as well. And without that Diana, we don't have that backline CC to give time for our skirmishers and our Yasuo to ramp up. So they're having a little bit of a hard time. But we actually have a 4 Revenant comp as well. That's one of those reach comps. Really looking forward to see what that's going to look like once we do get there, which should be the next round.
Oh, okay. Sonikzo is going to sell a Diana just to make sure to replace the Shroud, get the Frozen Heart, looks like on the Pantheon instead. Also, Sonic's Ghost did take out ImprobableBlob in the last round, but did lose to Jose Paulo. Now gets to go against ImprobableBlob again. I'm not sure if ImprobableBlob repositioned, because Sonic's didn't really. They do land a great Shroud, however, with putting it on the Raz.
We're watching the other matchup there. We do have the CC. Nice stun onto the Vel'Koz. That is one of the reasons why Ryze is so good against Redeemed in general. It is going to be one of the best people to stun, and it could have done it again, but we didn't get to our ultimate in time. But we did get to the Vel'Koz. We're here. We're ready to go, and we are going to win again as ImprobableBlob loses. Jose and Sonic looking strong in the top 2 as they both beat ImprobableBlob. That's probably the nerfs coming in, right? As we mentioned earlier, it's not going to hang on as long in the late game. That's where like small numbers really do matter, is at this point in the game. So seeing a little bit of the nerf, but Jose kind of having himself a day today.
Yeah. It also does struggle sometimes as well, even without the beat patch coming through. When you're not able to tier 3 the Lux, sometimes it's just not quite enough with the Lux too. But yeah, going up against these compositions, it's just not going to be there. Jose now leveling up to 9, is running a Lulu 2, just holding that on the bench for a while. Thought about re-rolling for probably the Nocturne 3, but says, nah, I'm just going to push levels. That's going to be even better. And that was definitely looking like the correct decision. Katarina 3 coming through. She doesn't have great items. The Shroud, not... I mean, it's going to land on a decent amount of units. It's going to land on the Lulu, Morgana, and the Ivern. CC comes through.
I'm looking right at that Nocturne, everybody. Right in the middle of everything. Both the best and worst place for a Nocturne to be. You know, you're going to be susceptible to a little bit more damage, but you're also going to be able to lifesteal much better. And this Legionnaire is going to actually take down Jose. Improbable looking like they're going to lose as well. Maybe not. I might have spoken too soon. We're going to get a Trundle ult, though, and that's never fun.
Oh, man.
Oh, my goodness.
Lux.
That Lux still
infinite scaling.
Hard. Infinite scaling, like you said. Man, close matchup. Still, 3 people remaining. 42 HP at 6/6 is kind of nutty, by the way.
Oh, yeah. We're going into stage 7, Boop. And I feel like we didn't at all last week. Yeah, no. If I remember correctly, we didn't go into stage 7 at all.
I think we hit 6-5 once.
Yeah. All right. ImprobableBlob did hang on that last round. Probably unlikely to get into the top 2 even still, but hang on round means there is a chance. Jose still 36 gold. Against Sonic's Shroud lands.
Yeah, Revenant tier 2 Viego sounds absolutely terrifying.
Oh yeah.
We're back on our Revenant.
Okay.
The targeting positioning actually helps a lot. Sonic getting a little bit of an advantage right now. We also get a Diana ult somehow. But yeah, this Pantheon with double Frozen Heart, those I believe do stack when they're next to each other. So not a lot of attack speed for these assassins. And something that we've noticed in the last 2 lobbies so far is direct countering to specific parties, right? We had ThatsAdmirable trying to fit in those mystics for the magic damage, and you know, right now we've got Revenants, but we also have 2 Frozen Hearts to deal with on the other side for these assassins.
Yeah. So the thing is about Jose's board here is that there is the Volibear factor, right? And that's going to be fantastic against Nightbringers into taking out the shields. The problem is the Volibear is frontlined right now. And I mean, the Yasuo's just going to walk forward and either take down Volibear or force Voli to ult before the Nightbringer shields actually proc. So I think Jose would do a bit better by not having Volibear take the brunt of that damage, that aggro. It is Volibear 2 now, so maybe more likely to get multiple ults off at this point. Level 9 and like 40 goldish to roll with means that this is going to be solid. Really needs to find upgrades, however. LeBlanc 2 on the bench. LeBlanc 3 still very, very far. Wants to find a Rise. It's going to be the biggest thing. A couple Timos.
Yeah, the Timo's not going to be doing much.
No.
One thing I do like here is actually this Lulu, which I think people kind of think about as a polymorph and not the attack speed, which is very valuable for this comp in particular, and is going to be moderately safe in the back line. But again, it's going to be all about the Viego and the Nocturne. Nocturne 2 definitely doesn't have the late game powers Nocturne 3 does, but I mean, this Viego is stealing.
Viego.
Yeah, the carry right now, that's going to be a huge loss for Sonic. That's it. Round 7-1. Jose wins 2 in a row, 2 different comps. The first one was Draconic. The second one was Quad Rev. The Reverend was here, and it was Jose running that double spatted Revenant comp, I believe. So, yeah, Khroen, crazy lobby so far. Nutty comps. A lot to talk about, actually.
Yeah, that was one of the strongest lobbies that I think we're probably going to see on the night. Let's take a look at the scores as well over the past couple of games. We've got them already all calculated. And yeah, Jose back-to-back first places there. And you gotta mention it after 2 games, on par to break the record here on Fight Night Rising. 37 points, I believe, is going to be the record. That's admirable, though. A very admirable placement.
Nice.
Top foring both games, 14 points. Yeah, you know, it fit. It fit.
Yeah, wordplay.
The middle, yeah, the middle of the pack though, gonna be a bit a bit close, right? Koala, Allen, on 10 points, ImprobableBlob, Sonikzo on 9 points. Corley and Still Wanderers are still in it with 5. They could still
for sure
get back to maybe not necessarily the victory, but still into the top 3 situation, be invited back. That's what all these players are going to be playing for. But man, Jose though, coming out real strong there,
and like calm, right? It was like he knew that they were going to win the last 2 lobbies. I mean, like, it was almost expected. So that's honestly, when someone's playing that confidently going into the second half, if you're an opponent, you're kind of just hoping that halftime cools them down enough to where it brings them back. But if it doesn't, Jose is going to be a force to be reckoned with for the second half of today.
Oh yeah. I would say very consistent as well. Last week it was like, I started the game with an 8th, but then they got 3 seconds in a row. Now it's starting with 2 firsts in a row. I mean, hey, we'll see if Jose is able to break the record, but until then we got to take a bit of a small break. We'll be back in just a few minutes for more Fight Night Rising. Don't go anywhere. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fight Night Rising. 2 games are in the books. We still got 2 left to go. And talk about who's going to be on top after those 2. It's Jose Paulo with back-to-back first places, Boop. This is not something we see every day with this dominant performance, one that can challenge the record and maybe even break it. We'll see what's able to happen.
The reason I think why this one's a little bit different than some other ones that we've had is because of actual dominance in those lobbies. Like,
Oh, yeah.
the lobbies too are close, but we've gotten to see Jose play like a bunch of different kinds of ways, like the close lobby in the first one, and then pretty much walked away with it on the second one by the end of the day. And so now everyone is kind of looking up there, and there's something that is just ultimately so difficult in any sport leading pole to pole, right? Whether it's, racing, whether it's biking, whether it's really anything that involves that kind of process, starting in first and ending in first usually don't go together. So we'll see if this happens here, because last time, we've had people get 10-10 and then 1, 10-10 and then 6, right? And so we've had people win a lobby and then not make top 4. So there's still a lot of possibilities, but the way that Jose is playing, I think if we just keep playing the way we are, cool, calm, collected, there's a real chance that we win this third lobby too.
Oh yeah, definitely. So we'll see as soon as we get into that just shortly. Also, props ThatsAdmirable, 14 points in second place, for representing all of us casters out there in the tournament space. Admirable, top 4 both times, definitely solid. Running the same comp both times as well, so Admirable not really showing to be that flexible of compositions, but is still playing the A-Bomb Draconic still rather well.
Yeah, the A-Bomb Draconic, particularly with the Zyra Anchor, is something, again, that was probably like the most surprising thing that I saw on that Ramblin' tier list as being so high. I think it's like top of B A tier maybe on that list. And again, like I mentioned this because it's probably one of the most, Sox and Ramblin probably have, and Keen probably have the most comprehensive like team comp oriented content. And before the patch comes, definitely look over at Ramblin if you want to try to reach some new ranks by the mid-set patch, which is only like 20 days away. So
True.
And remember, the hint is when your battle pass expires. So that's how you know. So everyone knows when the next half patch is actually going to be at the very first day of the new patch.
True.
But yeah, at the end of the day, all eyes are on Jose. That's kind of the storyline right now. Everyone's looking up at first place, and then it's a battle for second and third. If we get a top 3 here for Jose, then we've locked in a potential win. But nothing is set in stone just yet.
Interesting, actually, going the Forgottens over the Redeemed. I mean, I think both are solid options, and depending on the player, we could have seen both of those being picked up. Jose does lean with the preference of Forgottens, however. Warwick and Vayne, no gold comes through. Only was able to pick up one of the Leonas. And now, another Forgotten. I mean, Victor's here. So is Gragas. Gold's going to come through from this neutral round. Is it going to be 2 gold Nico? I've already cursed it. It's 2 gold Nico. It's going to happen.
It's going to be 2 1-cost units. That's what I think it's going to be.
2 1-cost units in Nico? Oh, boy.
All right.
We'll see. Definitely wants to buy the Victor, though.
Who is the seer here? Watch it just be 4 gold. Or something.
Oh, 4 gold? Even worse.
Oh, okay. I almost said 2 3-cost units. I changed it at the last second because I was like, but he got 3 items. Anyway, this is actually a good unit for him.
Yeah, I was going to say, didn't pick up the Victor, I think, because it was like, oh, look at these units. Now all of a sudden I have the option for either Dawmbringers or for Draconics, because the Udyr is there as well. So saying, nope, goodbye Forgottens, don't want to run those. You'll level up, play the Zyra as well. The board's a little bit awkward, but still it's going to be okay. You can already actually have an argument to slam a Warmogs on the Gragas. Isn't going to quite do that just because I want to see what they get out of the stage 2 Armory. But 4 units versus 4 units. Dawmbringers and Nidalee already with a glove. Nidalee is a great unit in the early to mid game, especially after her changes came through. How she works. Now 4th attack, she's going to be dealing a lot of damage.
Even with just that crit glove, it's pretty it's pretty crazy how many opportunities this Nidalee, extra opportunities this Nidalee has to do more damage because of just a little bit of extra dodge. In terms of design, I think Nidalee is one of the most creative designs they've had in this game. Making dodge part of your crit, that's super cool. Hasn't really happened since like Jax had dodge back in like season 1 of League of Legends, all the way back in the day, more than a decade ago at this point. But yeah, Jose did lose out on a round, and we do have the brawlers in the front line. We haven't seen any quad brawler openings yet today, which seemed to be like kind of an opening that people kind of stumble into, but no brawler front lines outside of just the Gragas and Set thus far.
Yeah. I'm not going to aggressively be going for it. If you land on it, you land on it. Fantastic. It's going to be good at complementing synergies such as A-Bomb and Draconic and things of the like. Let's see, that's Admirable, scouting out the rest of the lobby, doing his due diligence. So he's a redeemed player as well, already with a Lux this early.
Ooh, and, Lux early is pretty rough to deal with.
Yeah, especially just already having the direction. I didn't think the items didn't look like they were there, but already having the direction and 1 Lux makes your, if you need to stabilize on a 3-2 roll down, it makes it that much easier to do so. Already having Leona 2 for your front line as well is gonna be fantastic. For that comp, because one of the things that can actually be a bit rough is having that bit of a lack of frontline, so your Lux gets targeted too fast. We'll see that comp a bit later, though. We're now looking at Coralie take down. That's Admirable. Yeah, as soon as the Victor, on Morado seals the deal. Admirable wants to find some Draconics. Only has the Udyr set.
I wonder what Admirable plays if like we don't hit the Draconics early
Draconics
enough,
anyway.
Yeah, I think we force it because we did talk about forcing comps a little earlier on. So what's like the advantage of kind of, because Jirachi had some really cool takes on why forcing comps can actually be an advantage in tournament atmospheres like this, because it creates a solid line that you just know you can go on, right? It takes some variables out. Do you have any other kind of insights on, the benefits of forcing something like Draconic at this point in time when this is already kind of late?
Yeah, so just forcing in general, I probably would say similar things as Jirachi to that. I mean, it means that you're going to be the most practiced person in that comp. People are going to be less willing to contest you, and you already have direction going into every single game. And maybe if something goes like insanely different, then you can pivot off, but you have that thing to always fall back on. And again, just play the best of everybody else. With Draconic, I think that's the style of play that's Admirable really enjoys from even like just the beginning of set 5, but it's going to allow that's Admirable to have an early game that isn't necessarily the best. You don't have to like play for the early win streak. You're not pressured to do that. You just have to know when you need to be rolling down, right? And that's Admirable. Even is going to be willing to roll down on stage 2, like we saw, I think, in game number 1 to try and hit that Draconic. Didn't end up hitting, but still, that roll didn't really doom that's Admirable. He still was able to get second. It was looking like maybe for a little bit there could actually achieve the first place. If you don't find Draconic by like the end of stage 2, it's a little wonky, but you can still stabilize on 3-2 with getting A-Bomb and Draconic at that point. That's like the absolute latest that you can do so. So it's pretty, I guess, safe, I would say, to go with that playstyle if that's Admirable. And that's why forcing, I think, is going to be solid for him. He's practiced on it, and it still is going to be safe.
That was awesome. That was actually some super cool info there. As I was laughing because Improbable bringing back the dab. I don't know if I like that, but there's actually, like, we could talk about your play, but let's talk about the dabs real quick. Because my favorite dabber right now is a drag queen named Karen from Finance, which is a real drag queen in Australia who dabs occasionally, and there's something amazing about that. But yeah, you know what? Let's bring it back. More dabs, please.
More dabs.
More dabs. Yeah. Let's bring it back. Squidward, we need you again, buddy. As this Lux is going to be helping out. And the other thing about Lux at this point in the game, too, is there's not like a ton of damage available. So even the nerfed shields is, picking away at the total damage that the opposing team can do. And at this point in time, it's just not that much. And it might be enough to kind of win an attrition battle between, a comp that doesn't quite burst you down.
Definitely. All of a sudden as well, Boop, we go from 0 team players in game number 1 to 1 in game number 2, and then 2 in game number 3. It's going up by 1 every time. ImprobableBlob facing against, it looked like, I thought it was Alan there in that round. Maybe it wasn't. I'm not sure exactly what it was. Alan scouting. Okay, it was Alan, yeah. Oh, Alan already actually has Lux too. On level 4. Wait, what?
I love Khroen. That's like one of my favorite reactions from you. It's like when like I see like the meme math around you, and you're like, no, I'm not wrong, because you see it, and you're like going through like the scientific process of I'm seeing it. Right?
I'm just like double checking, just like
yeah,
fact checking.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like, this is real, right? Like I'm not making this up in my head. No, you're not. This Lux could 3v1 here, depending on where these ultimates. It probably does 3v1 actually. Boop.
I think so, yeah. Warwick ulti gonna come through, but not gonna do enough damage. Lux ultis takes on the Warwick.
Bye.
Next ulti comes through.
Bye,
Vladimir.
Bye. Yep. See you next time. Yeah, that's also like a really awful way to lose. It's to Lux. That's like I think one of the hardest parts about losing to that composition is just like this utility carry is killing me. Awesome.
This utility carry.
Yep.
Not often said.
But in TFT have been quite strong in the past. Like I'm thinking of people like Senna, and other people who don't necessarily do damage but help their team. Unfortunately for Lux, she does everything. She literally does everything.
Yeah,
damage,
she actually
support,
does everything.
Utility, and her auto attacks. Like I think like her base auto attack damage might actually be a tad high. I know she's only hitting this golem for like 50, but still, it's not low enough to not talk about, as we actually get another tier we get 2 Luxes, 2 gloves, and a tier. Why not? You know what? Why don't we do corner Lux? Let's do cross Lux, right? Build 2 Luxes in each corner. I doubt many things could actually beat that.
No, the problem with that, I suppose, is not going to be shielding the front line, which is still like one of the reasons that this comp is fantastic and a lot of synergies together is the fact that you can kind of you can build it in like that diagonal kind of shape, and Lux will shield and kind of hit the whole team. So when you get your frontline units later on, she's going to be great there. So you probably just put both Luxes in the same corner, be a bit better. But Alan, with these 5 Luxes already on 3-1, is shaping up to find a Lux 3. That's going to be a bit hard because it is contested, but already being on 5 Luxes as opposed to probably ImprobableBlob's 1, ImprobableBlob will even struggle to find a tier 2 Lux. So while they're win streaking from here, and actually still 1 on 3-1, they might fall off a bit harder when we get to towards the later half of stage 3 and into stage 4. That's Natrons. Still wanders.
Ooh, Soraka. That might become something else later, or might stick around as Soraka because we're running those Dawnbringers. Why am I like talking like this? Yeah, let's get some karma. I'm so sorry, everybody. I like went into like a fugue state. Unfortunately, we don't have a karma on the field. Soraka is a good carrier for karma items, but we need to get going. Right now, we just have kind of like our Dawnbringer trait to bring us a couple unit losses. We did lose that last round. Depending on this matchup here, it might be pretty difficult as Sonic has a Nightbringer Vladimir. Or Dragonslayer Vladimir, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, Dragonslayer Vladimir. I believe that's 4 Dragonslayers already. Sonics wants that power spike. Probably lean into a Yasuo a bit later. Yasuo already is on the bench. The Soraka, not going to be quite enough. Solanders is still on level 5 as well. I'm curious. Solanders didn't level to 6 on 3-2. Maybe just wants as much econ as possible to then level to 7 post Wolves and then roll it down for Karmas. Guess that's going to be the option there. The HP is still like okay at this point. Oh, actually level right now on 3-3 instead. Okay, interesting.
So I think some people just wait because they want to see what happens after they get their item. Maybe they get a power spike that helps them reach levels that they've never seen before. As we do finally get some upgraded units, it's going to be the Syndra. We have the availability of putting her in because we already have our 4 Dawnbringers locked in. As Sill, though, having a little bit of a rough day. This is our returning champion. Played pretty well last week.
Yeah.
Played really well in a lot of tight games, and so this is just a tad surprising, but that was a really good Soraka. Who needs a Shroud when you got Soraka getting you in the corner like that?
I will say the fight's still not over yet. Katarina's still alive, doing a lot of damage. The Warwick, though, Warwick can chain ults, but no, gets stuck on the Leona here. Can Raka hit the clump? No. Yeah. Oh! Raka! No! The Katarina, so
14.
close. 14 HP.
14 HP. 14.
That was actually an okay result for both the players.
Yeah.
ImprobableBlob went level 7 on 3-3, is on 10 gold, but with that gets to protect the win streak. And Sill Wanderers was on a bit of a loss streak, only lost to one unit, which means that you get the loss streak gold, and then you also get down to pick first in the carousel by 1 HP. So that's not bad.
Yeah. We're inting for carousel.
Tactical inting for carousel.
Tactical
and
inting.
For the loss streak gold.
Yeah, exactly. All planned. It's because Sill is a wonderful player. It might sound like I'm memeing, but it could have been, right? Those are the thought processes that a lot of players, especially at the top end, will go through. I mean, like some of the best players in the world can do the math so quickly that they're like, okay, if I take down 6 units over the next 2 rounds, I'll pick second on carousel, right? I can't do that, but some of y'all can, and Sill maybe did it just that time. We're looking around to see where we're going to put our Soraka based on our matchups, and we're going to keep her in the same place, it looks like. Though only a couple of these groups are grouped up for like a really good Soraka ult, so we're going to guess on the left side. And
there's a couple of Vel'Kozes on the left-hand side of the other board, so wanting to be on the same side as opposed to opposite sides is great, so you won't end up randomly die to it. Alan, though, this Lux is perfect items now.
This Lux has been around since like what 2.7, right? Or
even earlier than that.
Yeah, maybe like even like 2.4, because he had 5 Luxes, right? He's had all of these Luxes because he got 2 of those from an orb on Krugs. That's right. So at least since before Krugs, and now we're just gonna let our Leona act like a tank with our shields. Now that we have overtime, though, and shields and healing are a little bit worse, it can be a little bit harder. Ooh. And yes, Sill is going to take down that Lux. That is where Lux is most vulnerable, is in overtime. Unfortunately, as we get later into the game, overtime can become less common, less so in this set than in previous sets. But yeah, Lux kind of peaks 20 to 25 seconds into the round, and then if Lux is still alive at like the end of overtime, she's gonna win it if you haven't killed her just yet. So that's kind of the timing points that I would look for when it comes to Lux.
Yeah, definitely. Sill Wanderers still on 25 gold, is not quite recovered. Did win the last round, however. Did find the Nidalee 2 upgrade. Isn't too worse off. Koala Last Whisper, i.e. on a Varus being the early game carry, still Pantheon 2 for the front line. It's not the worst, but certainly not great, especially only being on 20 gold. Usually with this kind of spot, you want to be like win streaking, like level 7 at this point with 20 gold, so that maybe you can think about like fast aiding, going for an Aphelios pivot, because you see the Aphelios and Lightbringers on the bench, but you just can't go it from this spot. It's just going Aphelios, well, being stuck on level 7 is just you're just doomed at that point. You're not going to find your Kindreds, you're not going to find your Dariuses, you're still unlikely with that little gold to find the Aphelios too in and of himself. So if that's the pivot that Call is looking for, really, really likely for it to bot for actually from this point.
Okay. Things are starting to shape up. Even though we've hit round 7 on a lobby or 2, it really still feels like the pace of this game is still pretty quick. The rounds seem to be a little bit shorter earlier on, extending in the middle, but we do have a lot of good offensive-oriented items for Cora, and she has some good units too, as well as 2 Nikos. Where are those Nikos going to go? It's the kind of question of, do I split the difference and try to get value out of 2 units, or do I invest in a singular 5 cost, for example? Maybe even a Draven. But yeah, we have a lot of options.
Oh.
So where are we going to go?
It looks like maybe even a full pivot into Dawnbringers. It can't happen yet, but I think looking at these items... Okay, yeah, I think we're just building out a Karma right now. I just need to find 1 Karma, and then boom, double Nikos, tier 2.
Yeah.
Holding Rivens, Nidalees, Sirakas, Gragas on the bench as well.
I would love to see redeemed on the A-bomb, to be honest with you.
Redeemed A-bomb. What a cursed set of synergies
I know,
to pair
right?
together.
Oh man, could you imagine? Absolutely nothing would change probably. Anyway, other than maybe some extra tankiness. Yeah, 2 Nikos though. We're getting to that karma. This anytime. Now we might not need to use that spat.
And then another potential Dawnbringer as well, with the spat that she has already, and then the spare belt. Just need to find one karma, one time. Okay, a couple Groggs, a couple Kha'Zixes. That's good. Oh, this is
tough.
It's a little slow to make these decisions.
It's a hard decision to make. We have 15 seconds. The unfortunate thing is, and I like bringing this up in situations like this, is the longer you take to make your first decision, the less time you have to make every other decision after that. Exactly. So we're not going to be able to position. We're not going to be able to do any of that extra stuff. We're just going to have to deal with it for this round. And at 54 HP, we can do that now. Thank goodness we're not on like 20 HP, for example, right?
Yeah. And sell the Katarina here to get at least 30 gold going again. There's really just one karma. That's it. That's all we need. And we can go actually 8 Dawnbringers pretty easily as well, because we have 2 Dawnbringer spats at 4-2.
I don't think I've seen
Dawnbringer A-bomb comes out.
It happened. It happened.
We do get the Dawnbringer.
Yeah, we got the Dawnbringer instead, so we're going to get an extra life out of it. It doesn't matter where the Syndra is going to go. It's other than the fact that it's going to go to the grave. Sill will fall, but at least Sill has 50 gold, so good economy over there. Though our casting friend is doing a little bit of bottom dwelling.
That's okay. That's where he's used to being. Level 8 comes through at 4-3. Yeah, ThatsAdmirable probably feeling okay about that one.
43 HP at the bottom at level 8 is fine, to be completely honest with you. Everyone else is going to be 43 at 8 soon, right? Based on how the game goes. So we're just getting there a little early. But yeah, I'm just super curious to see where these Nikos are going to end up, especially now that we've kind of added so many more Dawnbringers.
Yeah,
right.
It has to be the karma. It is, or Garen, I guess, or Garen if we happen to roll a few karmas naturally. And optimally, you'd want to be able to save for that, right? But Corley's in a kind of awkward spot. We're not like super strong. The A-bomb's okay at cleaning up some rounds, but don't really want to bleed out to like 30 HP before we go 8. And even if we go 8, it's not that much gold. So if we just don't hit after that, it's a little awkward. Okay, I mean, apparently this board, it's hard to assess this board's strength, honestly, but it's looking good enough with the 4 A-bomb and the Dawnbringers actually coming out that Corley might be able to wait until Raptors, or after Raptors, then level to 8 and then roll it down.
I see Admirable just won, so I think you called it correctly, Khroen. I think we just reached our power limit, and our fire at the top of the leaderboard might be doused with water here, or from the Admiral, which is appropriate thematically. I hope that he's wearing a captain's hat. I know he's not on screen right now, but I hope he's dressed as an admiral right now because he's playing very well.
Well, it's admirable.
So
quite admiral, but you know,
it's close.
Adjacent enough.
You don't feel like you can be an admirable?
You can be anything.
True. Well, that's admirable. Who, in my mind, is a captain as well, is going to hang out at the bottom a little bit longer. But we've got Sonic at the top side of the leaderboard. Seems to be running things like skirmishers to get ahead pretty early. And then we've got Alan at 66. That's the Lux board, which I think still has the same amount of Luxes. But this board is probably the most interesting that we see on the Convergence right now, because
definitely
you never really see this kind of spat play when it comes to the Dawnbringer comp at this point in the game, right?
Yeah, at this point in the game specifically, right? You never see a Dawnbringer come through to just be before you're fully pivoting, because there's still like the A-bomb is the main focus of this composition. That's what's going to be mainly carrying. But you're presented with the option at the 4-2 carousel of going the Dawnbringer spat. So it's like, sure, fine, I'm already going to put into that, so I'm going to pick it up regardless, and I need to make use of it right now. And because it was exactly that, the need to make use of it right now, that Corley decided, okay, with the upgrades, I'm going to put the 4 Dawnbringers in. And they were decent for this stage. Unfortunately, it doesn't win that round, just because that's Admirable just hit the power spike, of course, went level 8, rolled down all the gold, but still going to be good against most matchups here. And as soon as Coralie gets after Raptors, I really want to see Coralie's 5-1 roll down, because that dictates whether Coralie can stabilize and maybe even like win the game off of hitting a Garen 2 Karma 2, or not hit at all and just go like fast 8th. Like it could be anywhere here for Coralie.
Ooh, man, those are actually the positions that I don't. I mean, this might be obvious, but that's not a position that you necessarily want to be in, but at least you have the ability to launch yourself into that top floor if you're able to play this right, and there's a little bit of luck on your side. This is the first kind of double A-bomb that we've been able to see. We've got double Rageblade, Jeweled Gauntlet on Zyra. Once the Abomination pops out, it will have a Ruden's Hurricane and a Last Whisper along with a Warmogs, but Giant Slayer is going to be on Coralie's A-bomb. If this comes down to an A-bomb versus A-bomb matchup, I like the Giant Slayer, but there's CC instead, and it's going to be 1 versus 2. 1 versus 1. Giant Slayer does take down the A-bomb, but Ryze ults at just the right time, and this A-bomb matchup goes the way of Jose.
Not bad, though. Not a bad loss for Coralie. Coralie has done everything that she's needed. Is going to level up next round, roll it down, has the 2 Nikos, and is still on an okay amount of HP. I thought that likely Coralie was going to be like low 30s, if not maybe like high 20s, but being high 30s right here is pretty good. So I got a few lives remaining at this point. Can already start to think about making the swaps, and yeah, does that. Gonna sell all these units. The Victor, the Callista, the Ryze, they're out of here.
Bye.
Dawnbringer.
See you next time.
Ivern. Yeah. Another Riven, but we already have Riven 2. Probably not going to be Riven 3. Okay, level 8. Roll down. Here it goes. Karma, Garen. Where are they? Okay, another Riven 2. Could maybe go Riven 3. Nidalee 2.
Okay.
Okay,
there's
one
the Karma.
Okay.
There's the Karma. So that's good, at least for now.
Yep,
if we hit the Garen... Let's see if we naturally roll a Karma too. That'd be huge. We gotta be intentional. You know me and my mouse movement.
Oh yeah, Curly is taking okay.
Yeah, it's we are. I can hear Coralie thinking.
We're not done here.
No, we're still playing that last round. We still haven't gotten the double Nikos, right? But we might actually get bailed out if we roll into 2 Karmas, and then we can just focus on getting our Garen.
Yeah.
But we still might end up winning out this round because it's still a good comp. 8 Dawnbringer means that we're going to get full health when we do drop down, but there's a lot of units on the board still. It's going to be all up to this Karma and the ults, and not enough goes down. No. Lux Shield actually helping a lot there as Korra still falls, even after getting 8 Dawnbringer. You think that you hit these reach comps or raced comps and you kind of lock in and you're good to go, and that's just not the case right now for Dawnbringer.
More rolls need to come through there. There is also another Karma player that is already on a Karma 2, so that makes it a bit more rough. Okay, we hit 2 Karmas, so at the very okay. Okay. We sell the Riven, screw Riven 3, it doesn't matter. Yeah, okay. Buy the Karma. All we need now is 1 Garen, and this game is a dub.
Exactly, because Garen with those shields are gonna, it's like Lux on steroids, right? If you're able to get there. Not as consistent, but the shields are huge. It will require a Volibear in order to make it happen, as this Dragon Slayer Vlad actually doing a lot of self-healing, but there's just so much sustain on this Dawnbringer comp that it kind of feels like, you know, you're carving a piece of ice, you look away and you look back and it's a square block again, right? It's like you didn't really do anything.
Exactly. Coralie, if they're not able to roll a Garen naturally, maybe from this next carousel the next round. ThatsAdmirable, also very low in HP, is on Ash 3, however. Maybe can stabilize with that. Sill Wanders is the other Dawnbringer player with the Karma. Sonic still high in HP. Koala, actually, I'm really surprised that Koala is able to be 48 HP this high in the lobby with the state that they were at, like level 7, almost no gold. Didn't pivot to Aphelios, I believe was actually still on the Varus, so maybe that's a bit why that they are still in an okay spot. Go up against Alan. Alan is on, looks like 6 Luxes, maybe 7? I don't know what the other unit behind Vel'Koz is, but at least 6 Luxes.
Oh, huge Karma ult, but an even bigger Vel'Koz ult, but now you're seeing why Dawnbringer 8 can win a lobby. Just you know, at that point, Vel'Koz was literally just shooting titanium steel made of with a diamond covering, right? Everyone finished with full health. Look at that.
Yeah, because the Karma actually was able to heal up not only from just the Dawnbringer, but the Shadow Hodge healing came through at a perfect time, and then the Taric heal came through right after to heal Karma back up to full. All of that healing surely was enough to go against the Vel'Koz, and it was. Now Carousel comes through. There is no Garen, though, unfortunately. Feels bad, man. We'll take a Static Shiv. ImprobableBlob takes Shadow Titans.
I feel like anytime you do pick up a Static Shiv, it's always that reaction. Well, it's not this item.
Yeah, right? It's like, it's okay, but it's not ever like what you aggressively want.
Yeah, you're not building it, right?
Yeah.
But you'll take it on a carousel.
Some use will happen from it,
yeah. This is going to help the karma, at the end of the day, with the Static Shiv procs. And we're still just rolling for Garen.
Garen.
If
you say Garen enough, we'll summon Garen. Taric 3?
No. Taric 3 I've seen one time, and it had a Dark Thief's Gloves on it, and it owned my world. It was one of the funniest ways to lose in my. There are some games where you're like, I'm okay. I lost that because I got to experience something special. I will never see a Taric 3 again, probably.
Yeah.
I did get to see a Teemo 3 in the wild once.
I was actually thinking about that. That's exactly where my mind went to. It's like, yeah, I feel like you've talked about going up with Teemo 3 before, and that was an experience.
He throws mushrooms on the entire board.
Karma versus Ash. Oh, Karma lost.
Okay, that's admirable. Playing admirably, hopefully, as an admiral on the convergence right now. It has been switching out, but Alan. What happened there?
The whole rest of everyone's just so strong, I guess. It has to be, right? Alan was sitting on Lux too, with perfect items, had stabilized. I mean, maybe it was like a frontline, maybe it was like a Vel'Koz, didn't quite get to see what all happened there, but that should not be an 8th from that spot. This lobby must be terribly strong, and I mean, it is, right? Corley's 8 Dawnbringer. We see other players on
in 7th.
Yeah, right? In 7th.
8 Dawnbringer. Jose's got a tier 2 Volibear at 5-6. You can see that in games, but not as consistently as Jose's been able to get Volibear 2 this early. But Volibear is only going to proc those Dawnbringer procs instead. And this Karma is just eating them up. That Giant Slayer is absolutely huge in the late game because even units like Zyra, for example, will get that percent health, especially at tier 3. You're actually going to be doing more damage with Giant Slayer the higher levels the units on the other side are.
Corley's actually going for Taric 3. I guess if you don't find a Garen, screw it. Garen's what meant to be.
What is that Star Wars? Do it. What is it? Article so and so to kill all the Jedi.
Yeah, I've lost. I understand the reference enough to understand it, not enough to point out what it was.
And Palpatine is just like, do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I'm saying to Cora right now. We get a little bit of money to roll down.
Yeah.
Here we go. Just one Taric. It's not even a 5-cost
one
unit.
Garen. We now have 2 outs. 1 Taric, 1 Garen. 1 time. Please.
Okay. None of the above.
Volibear not bad.
For now.
Okay, actually taking out the 8 Dawnbringers, moving down to 6, potentially. Has more gold to roll with.
Oh, Ivern 2.
That's a sell, yeah.
Sell the ribbon.
Sell, this is the time.
This is the time. You might not live that next round.
Oh man, this is like it's the intention, right? It goes back to like, how much can I greed? Am I gonna lose the game if I lose this round, pivoting off to 6 Dawnbringers because you get the volley? The volley is really valuable. That's done the whole board from ImprobableBlob. The Karma's in the back is gonna allow have enough time to deal out damage, but Kindred ulti comes through.
This is actually really close. We might not even make it to the Taric. At least everyone's focusing on the right side. Oh my god, missed all 3.
Oh no, and with that,
that's it.
Korra's gonna fall in 5th. 2 Nico's helps on the bench. No Garen. No Tarek 3. Not even a Volibear 2 there. Volibear 2 came through. Maybe that would have let Korra live in that round as well. Oh, what a tragic way to see that come to an end.
Brutal. Had all of the parts of a winning combination, just didn't get there in time. That was on that intention, right? We talk about it. we talk about it almost every single time we see it. It's just like, yeah, not all the time does like having good APM work, but in that situation, you absolutely need to go a little bit faster.
Oh yeah.
Every second you save is a second that you get to make for another decision. Instead, we're giving seconds away instead of investing in them. And now we get 5th on a comp that could have potentially gotten 3rd. Like little things like picking up those Pantheons and then selling them slowly, at the end. Maybe it would have been faster just to roll past them, right? So, because the intention wasn't quite there. It wasn't like, I'm going for Tarek, right? And all I'm going to do is pick up a Tarek. All these other things are just distractions. And unfortunately, we didn't do that. And that's going to be tough to come back from, as the Admirable is going to fall in 4th place once again. That's 2 fourths in a row. ImprobableBlob going to get in 1st place after a rough first game. And Sonic also, I believe, got 8th last game and has finished top 4 in the last 2. So Sonic's still in the running as well.
Yeah, Sonic's kind of pulling a, what was it? Oh man, who was it last week? Let me go double check actually. Okay, it was Jose. Jose last week went 8th and then second. Now Sonic's goes 8th and maybe another 2nd following. Jose looking for his 3rd first place in a row though. The comp is solid. The Lulu's gonna go in. Okay, there we go. The Shadow Shroud. Does it land on anything good? ImprobableBlob, yes, it does land on the club.
Yes, it does.
Fantastic.
2 shrouds as well, so the whole team actually got shrouded.
True. Voli has it from Thieves' Gloves.
Man, I want these teammates on my Summoner's Rift games. Man, that Zyra got literally everybody. Why are they? Why can't I play League of Legends with these units? Right. Is Jose going to take another win for Improbable? I mean, this is a different way that Jose has gotten to the top 4, but we're here as the Zyra throwing thorns as fast as they can, and it's going to actually get 2 wins in that round as Jose enjoying themselves, throwing splinters to everyone else. You get a splinter, Zyra doing a little bit of Oprah there on that round.
As they laughing about that one. Another Shroud potential. Probably Blob takes a cloak, so they probably have a hanging item somewhere. Thieves' Glove still being up. Solid option. Yeah, I was gonna go for that. Wait, these gloves actually there's no room.
Now there is. Our
level
next
9.
unit. We went to level 9. So we're gonna put our Thief's Gloves onto whomever.
Could be another Volibear? Okay, no.
Pops
Garen.
up. Probably Garen. Garen is just one of those units that can kind of splash into anything, even if there's no synergies. But it's going to be the Heimerdinger to help out our Ivern in the front line.
Yeah.
For the
heal reduction, the renewer. It's good.
Yeah, Iverdinger, if you will.
Oh no, I hate it.
I know that did sound weird, didn't it? That was it was like moist or something.
Yeah, adjacent to that. Same vibe for sure. Oh, Diana gonna ult and actually move the Zyra right in front of the Yasuo. The stun comes out and Nunu with the support eats Zyra, but she doesn't get another ultimate off. A-bomb comes through though. It's still not even a close fight at that part. 1 Yasuo away, Sonics will fall in 3rd. ImprobableBlob now making it into the top 2.
So we have to get a first if we want to break the record. I believe that's what Marcel did, right?
Could get a sec. Marcel, I believe, was 37 points. So we could get a second and then win next game, and it's still record-breaking pace.
So we are. So we are
still
on
on record-breaking pace. Yep.
And for real this time. And so the last thing, I know as casters, we talk about it all the time because we've gotten the history. We've been here for a couple years. But Jose needs to focus on just winning that last game, right? Because if you focus too much on breaking the record, you just won't.
Get in your head a little bit, yeah.
Exactly. At least that's what would happen to me, as these are probably some of the most valuable Volibear ults I've seen in the history of Fight Night Rising. Especially with the combo. So like the Volibear ult into the Zyra snare is absolutely brutal. And these auto attacks on the Zyra are not anything to ignore either. That was a 241 crit.
Yeah.
And when you're attacking that fast, right, it doesn't really matter that it's a 241 crit, because by the time another person gets a single auto attack off, you've already built up that damage. So yeah, Zyra carry wins the third lobby today. Jose, perfect score going into the last lobby. Isn't going to happen, folks. Press 1 in the chat if you think it will, 2 if you don't.
Oh man, any Jose doubters? I'm not at this point. You can't really see 3 back-to-back first and be a Jose doubter. That just doesn't happen. Get your head in the game. Let's take a look at the scores after 3 games with Busaurus. Jose has already locked in the victory. Literally can not lose out on that first place. That's admirable, however. In second with 20, Sonikzo. In third with 17, ImprobableBlob. In fourth with 16, Koala. And Alan, then Corley, then Sill wanders. Sill wanders! Our victor last week. On 8th here. Maybe not full 8th in the day. See if they can manage to scrape back up to a 5th. Or maybe a 4th. Unlikely. But it could happen, I believe, mathematically.
Do you know what's crazy about this? ThatsAdmirable's score line would win a lobby other weeks. Like, say he got a second in round 4, he'd be in contention for first place. Of all the lobbies, I mean, he's been playing really well too. I think one of the few that is top 4 in every lobby. Unfortunately, today also happens to be a very special day for Jose. I mean, to win 3 lobbies in a row to win 3 things in a row in any instance is hard. Statistically, it is not on your side. So we need to see if we're going to continue being the statistic improbability into our 4th lobby and get a perfect score. If anyone actually coming into this has played this cleanly, I'd be pretty surprised. Numano, I think, had a perfect score opportunity once. But other than that, I don't really think anyone's come into this 4th lobby with this kind of confidence to potentially do it. It's been really good and controlled play from Jose. That's why he's having so much fun. And remember, I said it was so dangerous when someone gets into that mindset where they literally just can't do anything wrong. They're just playing clean and well.
Oh, definitely. Also, just a slight correction, I believe, on the scores that we just showed. ImprobableBlob got second last game, not Sonikzo, so their scores should be flopped, I believe. ImprobableBlob being at 17, Sonikzo being on 16. So, slight correction.
What a good sport. Sonikzo, there's a reason why I like you. That tells me you're a good person. Not everyone, I think, would have said something, but the overarching theme of what we're seeing here today is from 2nd to 8th, it's actually been incredibly close, and the lobbies have been close. Jose is not winning these lobbies by 60 HP. He did the first one, but the second and third one it's been pretty close. It's been matchup dependent at the end, but Jose's come out on top, has seemed to find the counter comp to whoever gets second place each time he finds himself there.
Definitely so. Now I load into the final game of the afternoon, late afternoon, early evening, depending where you're at. Sonikzo needs some good RNG in this game. Still going to be potential to get into that top 3 scenario. 4 points behind second place, 1 point behind third. Still very doable. While Jose has went out on the event, players are gonna be playing for second. That's pretty much it.
Okay,
still,
and
taking home $50, still not bad.
If there's any trend that I've made up that rings really true in this lobby, it's that someone in the bottom 3 will inevitably top 3 from the leaderboard.
Actually, always happens.
Yeah, it's just, I think a lot of times when the pressure's off and someone like who's in 6th place is like, I can't win, I can't top 3. There's really nothing to lose. They actually play the best of the day, right? Because the pressure's off and everything's a little bit clearer. And I think that might be part of the reason why it's like, it always is like 7th or 8th too. Whoever's in 7th or 8th seems to hit like second place on the last lobby. And craziness does tend to happen in this lobby too. So we've been seeing some pretty interesting things. We got to see 8 Dawnbringer today. We've seen Zyra A-Bomb for all 3 lobbies, a comp that we haven't really gotten to see in Fight Night. So in terms of variety, we've been seeing a lot of Karma, but in terms of everyone else, we've actually been seeing a good amount of just other, right? Including builds. We've seen versions of Zyra A-Bomb with a variety of Rage Blades and other ancillary objects.
So nice getting 6 gold. Forgotten potential, Dawnbringer potential as well. Could level up, I think, and just play level up, play the Soraka, play 2 Dawnbringer. The Vayne gets sold. Trundle goes in. Kind of an awkward early board that Sonikzo has. Actually, definitely an awkward early board. It's the start of something, though. It could very well be Dawnbringer. It could still be Yasuo. It could still even go into Forgotten. We haven't really seen that many Forgottens, I think, today. Forgotten's generally being seen as one of the weaker top compositions. Dawnbringer definitely being I think on the forefront of players' minds. And like you mentioned as well, I love seeing the more A-bomb centered compositions with the Zyra, because that was something that we actually were seeing a lot in Europe, especially even throughout like the beginning of last patch. But now finally it's kind of making its way over to the NA meta. That's tragic. Those two Gragas living with like 1 HP. That could be a difference of a placement later on.
Yeah, that's where I would like do like a 1950s Hollywood faint.
Oh,
right. I'd be so. Oh.
Yeah.
The Crocuses. And this is a little concerning because we have seen Sonic struggle when the early game doesn't go their way. The last two lobbies it has, and we've top 3 both of those lobbies. But we got to start things off here. And with the Runins with the Yasuo, we potentially have a good opening set to at least take down units, maybe even steal a win from someone who maybe didn't level this round. We'll see.
Yeah, gonna put in Cavalier buff to protect the Yasuo just a bit more. Yasuo already with the Runins. Swords, I mean, sure, he could go with a GA. Probably gonna want a Jewel Gauntlet, RFC, Shadow Hodge, things of that sort. Still, finding Yasuo this early in the shop is great RNG for a board that was already leaning that direction, because being on the Trundle pair and having the Sejuani for Nightbringer as well. This is a good board. Now it can go on a bit of a win streak.
There it is. Yeah, once we kind of locked in with the true damage on the Yasuo, that true damage rips apart early game units, but you have to kind of keep up with the tempo of the game by continuing to level up that Yasuo to tier 3 by like 4-2, 4-3, as I think kind of like where you really want to land on it, potentially earlier. And so we're probably just going to run with this front line. This is a really great front line to keep someone like Yasuo protected, and that's why we could win around with just tier 1 units.
Yeah, definitely. Unlikely that Yasuo 3 will be here before 4-1 or 4-2. That's still pretty early.
It's happened.
It has. Still very, very early. But that's what you got to do, right? When you're going to be threatening the win with the Yasuo composition, you need to hit it around that point. You could push levels. You could like go level 8, just land on a strong board. If you get like a spatula item, you could go something like maybe even 6 Dragon Slayer potentials there. Need a couple of spats for that, but you could go like 6 Nightbringer with 4 Dragon Slayer, things like that if you push levels.
Don't tell me about 6 Dragon Slayer. I've experienced 6 Dragon Slayer on the other side.
Sure. Sorry, that was insensitive.
I know that as a Hellion player, I could not have been countered harder in that final 1v1. So hard, in fact, I made it to the top of Reddit for the first time. So, as a victim.
Oof.
I can't believe that happened. It was so crazy to see that Mordekaiser with that shield, where it wasn't even like, how you can see like Trundle sometimes it just looks like a solid line, but with Mordekaiser it was a solid just white line of shield, and it's like, I'm playing Hellions. What am I gonna do with this? And so I just lost for 5 rounds in a row. Yep, exactly. And again, those moments are moments I'll remember forever, and that's why I love this game, right? And I think that's why Nightbringer 6 exists, is for those moments. And I'm sure everyone watching has a memory like that. I think it'd be great to like have a piece of content where everyone goes over like their most the craziest loss they've ever had.
Craziest loss? Oof. I'm trying to think back to my own games. I don't quite remember. I do remember a crazy win though. It was with Dusk Riven. Riven was like 1v2ing versus like another unit and killed it, and then the Teemo shrooms like came out. Riven like had blue buff, so she like walked perfectly, baited the shrooms, and then dashed behind Teemo and won. I was like a 1 HP or something at that point. It was absolutely insane. Like better Riven mechanics than like box even. Like it was crazy.
Oh man, my favorite is when like the units casually avoid skill shots. Like walking really slowly to another hex, right? It's just, I'm gonna take a stroll real quick as Karma, mantras all miss at that moment in time. But Koal Little already with a redeem spat, so that's the direction we're committing. But we're seeing Knights on the board, so this redeem spat might be our first Kale comp as well. But the other unfortunate thing is actually who we're seeing right now is Blobshi has actually been running redeemed a lot so far, and seeing that there's another redeemed player, let's see if we get scared off of this, because we actually have a pretty good starting redeemed comp, but they already have the spat, and we're already competing for units, right?
The amount of redeemed players has just gone up as the games have unfolded, Boop. We started with 0, then it was 1, then it was 2. Can we have a 3? 3 redeemed players this game? We already see 2. We'll see if there is a third to contest, a third to challenge. ThatsAdmirable having some early game Hellions here, but look at the items. They are A-bomb items. It's looking like no A-bomb units, however, from ThatsAdmirable, but not really looking like they want to pivot.
And Sonic's actually not won since we left off. So this Yasuo actually not finding a lot of early game potential, which actually, now that I'm thinking about it, makes a lot of sense, because a lot of the early game has actually been shield oriented, right? You're seeing it here with the Victor and the Lux, and maybe these shields are just a little bit too much for this Yasuo right now, as the Hellion comp takes a round off of Sonic, and we got to try to get that board online. It doesn't seem like our rolling has been very successful. I didn't see any economy there for Sonic.
No, didn't. Trundle 2 comes through for Sonic, I suppose. Alan towards the bottom at 76. No one's like really hurting. Sometimes we'll see players in like 60 something HP. But lowest member being at 76 means that this lobby is relatively similar in power levels. ThatsAdmirable going to be probably one of the strongest, actually, with that Hecarim upgrade, being on Hecarim 2 and Kennen 2, 3 Hellions right now. Seeing as the Hellions just got buffed in this patch. Can we get some gold? Oh, we do. So, Lee Sin. Alright. Gonna keep that. Header mover as well.
Oh, that's our first one of those that we've seen, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
So far. Yeah, not a ton of loaded dice either, because loaded dice can still appear on like the very last one, right? I think.
Yeah.
I feel like I read something, but I had a dream the other day. I'm not sure was a dream.
Yeah,
because it was sure like it was like a normal life. You know, like, have you ever had one of those dreams where you like go to school, right? And you just come home and then you wake up and you have to go to school again? It was like one of those situations.
Crazy.
But
I
anyway,
actually haven't. Like, not to that extent. It's weird, but
yeah. Or like when you go to sleep, like when it's light out and you wake up at night and you think it's the next day.
Oh yeah, I had that happen for sure.
That's definitely man, naps are crazy. But the A-bomb comes out for Korra, and it's going to be able to take a lot of this damage outside of the mages. So Ziggs is just so good at buttering up units to fall, as Korra having a little bit of a hard time. Again, this isn't as, split evenly as some previous lobbies, but the top 3, Sill was in this position last lobby and then ended up getting 8th. So hopefully we can actually maintain.
True. Sill wanders, only player on a bit of a win streak right now. Koala is, of course, our redeemed player. On 3-2, thinking about item they want. Is it going to be a sparring glove? Is it going to be shadowed tier? Wishes it was probably a regular tier for Lux items. That's still okay, though. We level up. Still on about 30 gold. Can sell the Thresh for 30 gold. Still be on 6 redeemed. Ball is in a decent spot. Not the most amazing, given there's no frontline items. This composition does really benefit from having a frontline items on the early game on the either Aatrox or Leona, and then put them on a Rel a bit later. But there is none of those at the moment. Against Alan with the A-bomb.
It's all about the opportunity, right, to make your comp better. And when not presented that opportunity, you have to come up with some tips and tricks for yourself to go through in order to either lose by as little as possible, or just say, okay, I'm going to lose streak. I'm going to be okay with just having a really low HP, kind of like Admirable's been playing this whole time, right? And then just coming up at the very end. And I think Alan is starting to kind of run that a little bit, but now we have 30 gold and some economy for koalaesbelto. We've had the same comp since the beginning. This is a very good comp when the number 2 is in front of that round, but without these upgrades, especially on Varus and Ashe, there's just no damage on this comp outside of the redeemed procs, but there's not enough HP for the units in the backline to really take advantage of that extra oomph that the redeemed trait gets you.
Exactly. They're all tier 1 in the back, no frontline items for anything, and it's really just, only 1-stars besides for Aatrox. So this loss streak, 4 loss streak for Koala, probably going to remain to be a loss streak. Going up against so many A-Bomb players, actually. A-Bomb back-to-back. This time it's going to be Coralie, level 6 and 10 gold. The A-Bomb players just roll down at 3-2. That's the meta right now. The meta is shifting in front of our eyes, Boop, and ThatsAdmirable, definitely a huge proponent of it being this way.
I mean, I roll down at 3-2 for a different reason.
Yeah, not for the Draconic.
not because, yeah, exactly. I'm rolling because I'm rolling. I think that's a really good answer. Actually.
Rolling because you're rolling.
There's something about that button that like I could just passively press, and not even realize it. So maybe I need to talk to someone about that. But anyway, 60 HP at the bottom of the leaderboard. Koala Little is starting to ramp up. We don't get the Aatrox, but we are going to get, was that a glove? The body's a little bit too big. Yeah, it looks like we are going to get a glove, which is going to be an IE for maybe someone, or we're actually going to go ahead and I don't know, where's this glove going to go?
More likely for it to be a Shadow Hodge.
Yeah, it says,
yeah.
There we go.
Here we go. There it is. Shadow Hodge. Put that on the Varus. The Varus could actually be the carry of a redeemed comp. It doesn't have to be Lux. It is more likely to be Lux, however. Now that we're on 3-5, we do level to 7. Put the 2 Knights in. Need a bit of a better front line. But we do have another spat. So Koala could actually think about going 9 redeemed. Potential is there.
That's the Super Saiyan comp.
Yeah, need to get to level 9, however, for that. And ImprobableBlob, redeemed against redeemed. ImprobableBlob, though, is level 7 as well, with a Vel'Koz. As soon as Vel'Koz cast comes through, just the squishy backliners. And, okay, I mean, the Varus healing a little bit. Yeah, Varus heals with the Shadow Hodge. I mean, just the front line. The front line difference, though.
Yeah, not enough damage. They're going to get into the backline. Doesn't matter if you have shields at this point in time. The other thing that this could actually potentially turn into is there's a really fun Varus Pantheon comp that is going around. So if Koala Little kind of decides that they're too far behind on the redeem, they could potentially move into the skirmisher version of it. But we're going to go ahead and keep up with our redeem and actually sell off this Varus to put our Vel'Koz as our carry.
Yep, Shadow Hodge going over to the Vel'Koz, and you can put the Shojins and the Rod, maybe not the Rod, but the Shojins over to the Lux. That would look to be pretty solid right now. Let's see, we get the Ziggs in for the Spellweaver. Oh, Shojins on Vel'Koz, maybe as well. Considering not doing that. Actually gonna keep it on the bench for now, it's looking like. Sure, it'll reduce the Lux damage, but Shojin's still one of the best in slot Lux items. Not really playing for the Lux real carry potential here, though. It's really going to be the Vel'Koz coming through. And that's a lot of damage.
It sure is. Tons of damage, but enough damage. That is the question. One more shield. This should be good for the Lux. And I do believe we got lucky on the Shadow Hodge in terms of the... it being on and off. I know there's like a singular word I could have used there, but that wasn't the case.
that just comes through from Vel'Koz, right? Just because like Vel'Koz is going to find value out of Shadow Hodge more than other units because of just the way the ultimate interacts. Like hits everything, and sure, if you kill one thing and land on it, it might be a bit lucky, but you're still going to get some healing, no matter what, just because of the frequency of which Vel'Koz kills units. Sill Wanderers, Dawnbringer player, using Soraka as the item carrier.
Second time. Yeah, I believe. So last time it did not go well. This time, though, we have better units. We're better on board. We're not running a baby comp, right, which is those tier 1 units with items on it. And so even with the Shadow Rabadons, right, well, this Soraka is looking very fashionable with a very nice hat in the corner. It's going to be doing a ton of damage, too. There was a hot minute where there was a Soraka carry comp. It's just not popular anymore, but it existed
Yeah.
at one point in the past. So that tells me that she's a great item carrier. Most 2-drops are good item carriers because most of them don't survive into the late game, maybe other than Brand and Kennen. And so someone like Soraka is going to give you a lot of value out of these items. And we are actually kind of clumped in the corner.
A little bit clumped. That roll down wasn't the best for Sill. I mean, found a Nunu 2, I suppose, put a Nidalee. Or no, just put the Kha'Zix in, actually, but doesn't land on 6 Dawnbringers with that, still just on the 5. Soraka, though, I mean, Soraka's getting a lot of value.
She's going to top frag here, probably.
Yep. Back to 40 gold. Selling the Riven, so not wanting to go to Riven 3. Dawnbringer emblem, that makes us, that gives 6. Wow, the Dawnbringer emblems have been very, very kind to these players today.
Yeah, I feel like I see these 2 emblems on this on this armory a lot. Particularly like Legionnaire spats is kind of what I see a lot of as we do sell the Soraka. So I actually want to bring a very simple kind of comparison between what we saw Korra do and what we just saw then, right? Earlier, we saw Korra trying to kind of get as much out of it as possible, where Sill already made the decision, when I see Karma, I'm selling Soraka, right? And I'm going to put Karma in. Right, those kinds of snap decisions are where Sill is good, and I think they could kind of use each other to get better. Right, I think Sill could potentially play a little bit more patiently at times, where Korra could be a little bit more intentional. Right, so very interesting dynamic there.
Yeah, Final Whisper goes onto the Karma as well. Interestingly enough, not quite sure. I mean, working out in this round. Working out in this round. Still 50 gold. Still in a great spot. 6 Dawnbringers, even without the Dawnbringer spot.
And we have a huge lead. Our lead is so big at this point that we, in terms of top 4 possibilities, especially looking at this Garen.
Oh my god, Garen on 7 too.
Almost spit out the food. That I think they were eating at that moment in time, as I think it was an appropriate reaction. And these are pretty good items that you could potentially put on the Garen too. Any HP differential for Garen is great, in that Shadow Warmogs might as well just not have a negative to it, to be completely honest with you. The burn on it is just, in my opinion, negligible, especially if you have a shielding unit.
Oh yeah, which Garen going to be, of course, with all this HP, you're getting some really, really big shields. Like, look at this coming through. It tanks the whole Vel'Koz ulti. Pretty much. The Dawnbringer heal him back, and then
another shield. Yeah, exactly. So
the Karma does
we haven't
die.
hit the HP yet. Karma is, but backline units are more vulnerable to Vel'Koz, but we have the Nidalee there, and even with just 2 items, one that's not like, I think Morello's is cool on Garen, but really all that was just raw HP and a good unit helping win out that round, as we have almost a 30 HP advantage rate, 29 HP for first place into second.
Yeah, Sill, I mean, Sill being one of those players, Boop, that, in 7th or 8th, coming in here and gonna top 3 at least, game number 4. Happens every time. That's crazy.
True.
Even like when you were bring that up before, like in Challenger Series that we're actually gonna have an hour after this show ends, but Challenger Series yesterday, same thing happened to Khroen. Khroen was like 7th, 6th, 6th. I was like, all right, I'm not advancing. Then game 5, it got like top 4. It just always happens, like top 3. Even, I think
there is a lot of weight, I think, in terms of psychology when it comes to, like, I know me in that position when I'm like playing a game and I'm eliminated, my perception of what I need to do totally changes. I'll either do something super dumb, right? Like, let me do hyper roll cabs with this instead, or I'll just be like and just take units I see that other people are doing. Right? That's me. I don't know what other people would like to do, but this is something that is also a little interesting. Is Jose? I've purposely not been mentioning it because I'm notoriously a curse when it comes to this stuff the second I say anything, but this is going to work out this time. But we are running a little low on HP. This is where we stabilized with the assassin comp, but it's going to be Abomination, which has struggled to win the lobby, right? We've seen it win a lobby, but it is not as easy as I think some other higher ranged comps at the end of the game.
True. I mean, even if you don't win the lobby, 2nd place is all you need to break the record. Playing for 2nd could be the play here. And Jose, Yeah, Jose's HP isn't the best, but it's at 49 when I believe Jose before that last round was on like an 8 loss streak, I think it was. So being on this HP for an 8 loss streak is actually really good. And has landed on a fantastic composition as 3 redeemed, 4 A-bomb for the front line. The A-bomb has not best in slot items, but the items are still okay. The Vel'Koz really is going to be the main carry point, but Jose is level 8 with 50 gold as well, so he can roll down pretty much as much gold as he wants to after the Raptors. Jose's in a good spot.
And that's the thing about redeemed is these power levels can feel a little random, if that makes sense, right? It really is all about that windshield wiper, that Vel'Koz, as Alan also going to fall to this Vel'Koz. Great items. I like Giant Slayer on Vel'Koz. Apparently so does Koal who's running something very similar and is going to find the same kind of success. But there's also, I think there is a third redeemed player, and that is going to be ImprobableBlob, I believe, who has a Vel'Koz too. So there it is. 3, 4, 5. There aren't many Vel'Kozes left. One of these redeemed players needs to fall if any one of these redeemed players wants to win.
Yeah, Jose might wait until Koala actually falls to roll for Vel'Kozes. That is a thing that a lot of players will do. So if they're contested and someone's looking like they might be eliminated soon, just wait out until they die. And I think Jose has already purchased XP to go to 9, so Jose might be doing just that. I'm gonna go 9, wait for Koala to fall, and then roll it down at that point. Sword comes through. Gunblade is going to be the last potential item. Not the best, and might actually, with that, wait until 5-2 Armory to come through before doing much of anything. Yeah, a lot of these units are still 1-star on that board. Or leaving the other A-bomb player at 5 A-bomb.
Yeah, look at the difference between the one with the Warmogs on and the one without it. Like, that's why.
Yeah.
Look at how good of an item that is, right? That if you need a visual, if you're a visual learner, there it is for you. As that is, it almost looks like double. It's not, but it looks like it. So we also have a lot of items on the bench still. Yeah. Why do we have items on the bench still?
Waiting for the 5-2, I guess. Waiting for not seemingly like she wants to overcommit to items. Wants to use this HP lead that she has with the right A-bomb comp and see if she can greed out just a little bit longer, which I don't think is a bad decision. Because you're gonna be winning rounds or getting close regardless. Giant Slayer is really good, but it's not enough. Tier 5 A-bomb, a bit better.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been close at all if it wasn't for Giant Slayer. Not only because it's the name of the company, but also because it's a good item. As we're starting to get into elimination station for some of our players. Jose did lose out on 1 round since we've left. Sonic has really dipped. Admirable also having a little bit of a tough time. Sonic playing a lot of skirms, by the way, today. Which, the way that the results have gone feels very skirmisher. for Sonic, right? The earlier games he's doing better. This is a much slower game just in general. So the skirmishers are going to have a little bit of a harder time as we're finally getting these items on board. But here's that intention again. You think too long, you're not going to have enough time to actually perform, right? We're going to put the Rabadon's Death Cap on the set. So that's going to help our A-bomb potentially do a little bit more damage with that AP. Don't know if I appreciate it as much as some other options could have been, but
Death Cap's one of the best in slot items for the Abomination, just with how it interacts with the healing and the attack speed buff actually comes through. Right. So I love the Death Cap.
What are what did we sacrifice for the Death Cap in terms of the itemization?
The Warmogs or the Refracted Bramble. But still going to be solid. It's going to be tearing through the rest of this board here, and yeah, it's just this A-bomb way too strong. A-bomb's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good up until like round 6-3, and then all of a sudden the items are there, right? When you've got your Zyra 3 double Rage Blade Shojins, which Alan Van is trying to run, but Admirable bottoms out in 8th place. That's really opening things up in terms of the leaderboard. Admirable was in an okay position, but wasn't in a safe position. So definitely going to be watching the rest of this lobby to see where they finish. Probably in the money, but in the top 3. We're going to find out soon.
Yeah, ImprobableBlob and Sonikzo are going to be the players to watch out for that one. If ImprobableBlob goes out in the next couple of placements, Admirable will be top 3. But 20 HP in a dream, running that redeemed composition. Could happen. Sill wanders still up towards the top.
Spell
A
Weaver.
great Shadow Shroud. Lands on almost the whole board.
This Rel, though, might be a little bit of a concern because when the second Rel ult comes, if there is one, it's actually going to be a pretty huge shield. We get some support from the Lux, but we're going to get deleted by a Vel'Koz ultimate, too. This has been the trickiest round so far for this Abomination. The Lux is so good against the A-Bomb, particularly these 3 units are amazing against that particular playstyle, not just the Abomination. So that one Syndra ult helps win out. You might think it's the damage, you might think it's a utility from Lux, but no, it was the Syndra ult that ends up taking the dub.
Yeah, Syndra throwing the A-Bomb into the corner, has to walk all the way back over. Too long. ImprobableBlob, now 9 HP. On the chopping block, grabs a Heimer with a GA. Koalaesbelto is now on a win streak, actually, 10 HP. Sonic's at 20. See what these players are going to grab. Sylwander's being last pick on the carousel. Only offered AD items. That's not bad for the Riven, actually. Riven has Shadow Zeeks, Deathblade. No Rune Ends, though, should really benefit from. Oh, a Garen pair. And Sylwander's is going to level to 9. Gets to roll it down.
Yeah, go for it.
I was going to say, yeah, gets to roll it down. Gets to not only have the opportunity to find the Garen 2 and the Ivern 2 potential, but also can...
Oh!
There we go. We hit. Also gets the 4 Invoker in. This is fantastic.
This is a lobby-winning comp, potentially.
Oh, yeah.
Sylwanders looks like a celebrity to me. I've been trying to figure it out this whole time. It's like a combination of like Matt Damon and Adam Devine. Is like what I'm thinking from Workaholics.
Interesting.
But anyway, like he looks exactly like someone, and I can't put my finger on it. But yeah, we've got some interesting units here. Legionnaire Spat on the Trundle, which is going to help with other skirmishers. But this Garen is the moment.
Oh yeah.
This Garen is the moment right now, and it's gonna get another win. It was like up against a ghost, so it doesn't do a ton of damage, but we're gonna stay on top of the leaderboard by a pretty large amount by this time in the game. As Jose also climbing up. We remember we only need a second for the record. And Jose also finds the other Garen. So we get a Karma 2 here for Sill. We have Garen 2 for Jose. I think Jose might actually get this record.
Oh yeah, it's looking likely. Sill wanders though. Great contention for first. Is going to find the Karma 2 now. Has the Shadow Shroud. Most boards are lining up on the right-hand side, but it looks like Sill wanders does not have time to move the whole board around. So, okay, it still lands on a Viego and a Brand. Not the worst. Syndra's gonna have time to throw the Viego away. Now the A-Bomb comes through. A-Bomb versus the world. Not gonna be enough. These items are not it. Getting the Shojins is a bit of a low roll there for Corley. Yeah. Corley falls to 18 health. Koalaesbelto and Koalaesbelto hang on.
This is it. It's against Jose, so this is actually going to be a pretty big litmus test to see how good Jose's comp is, and it loses. Okay, so that really changes things. Jose now with 19 HP, but knowing that we did lose Koalaesbelto, who is currently on fire, means that I don't know if we have the second best comp right now. Ugh. This is going to be very, very close. There's still an opportunity, but I do think as time goes on, especially seeing that Koalaesbelto did just beat them, it's kind of slipping away right now. It's not completely gone. We still got, you know in movies when like the pinky, you're holding on to something and then like the pinky falls.
Yeah, that's slow. Right? You
used
to like can maybe be saved, still climb back up, but it's looking a bit more dire.
He's on 3 fingers right now. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like we're still okay, but if we lose anything more, it's going to be a little bit of an issue. Yeah. We're running that Abomination. And this is a comp that can do it. This can do it, but we need Volibear too. We need the Nunu. In terms of tier 2 units, we are struggling right now. We tier 2 those units, we might win the lobby, but we aren't with these units just being tier 2, especially with the Lux not having items on it. It's just going to be a support unit this time around, not going to help with any actual kills outside of the first main ultimate.
The Viego landing on the Garen.
Oh no,
Oh,
at ult, at the ult
tragic.
too. So there's also not going to be any shielding for anyone too, because actually the Garen gets CC'd, unable to take advantage of that extra ult. We do have the Abomination once again getting into the back line, and this A-bomb is so big. It's going to be another loss for Jose. We're down to 2 fingers, friends. All right, we can't drop anymore. Yeah, exactly. And then we're gonna do Mufasa cosplay if we can't hold on.
Alan gets taken out. Oh, Heimer too. Okay, we're back to like 4 fingers right now. Holding on.
Yeah.
And Nunu too. Okay.
Okay. Now here's a possibility.
Wait, a whole hand hanging on. A whole hand.
Yeah, we you know, it's like one last go. You put it up. You know that old I don't know why this is so vivid in my mind, but I remember back in like the early 2000s, there was this commercial for the army of this guy rock climbing, and at one point he like falls, but he catches himself with one arm. That's where we are right now. We're almost at the top of the mountain, right? We don't want to do a Sisyphus thing, right? When we get to the top and then just roll back down. We want to put our flag there, and we want to own it, and we're going to make history if you do. So this is looking a little rough, though. We do get some backline pressure. Oh, no, it is not looking like it's going to happen. And it's going to be all of Sill Wander's fault. We'll still talk to Jose at the end of the game, but no record. It looks like everyone kind of knew it was happening, right? As the chat is starting to respond to it as well. But you gotta give snaps for Jose's play today. One of the better appearances that we've seen ever, in my opinion. Those 3 wins were all wins they deserved. They were the best player in those 3 lobbies. And congratulations on the win. But let's see who is going to play spoiler today, because everyone left is a spoiler other than maybe Sonic. So yeah, that even rings true today as well. We got a little bit of everything today.
Yeah, definitely. Sonic's being in here, I believe, is probably solidifying themselves. Yeah, it looks like they are solidifying themselves in the top 3. Maybe even 2nd place, actually, because ThatsAdmirable did go out in 8th. Let's see where they're able to land. Sill Wander's playing big spoiler, though. That Garen. Oh, yeah, they got Titan's Resolve from the Dragon round as well to add icing on top for the Garen. That's such an insane item in this scenario. Now the Teemo 2 comes through as well. The Shrooms landing on the Viego after Viego's thrown into the back line. Oh, Garen gonna be cleaning up all the rest. Sill Wanders, 4 win streak, make it 5. Taking out Corley as well. Props Corley for making the top 4 of this one. Sonics versus koalaesbelto. Someone's gonna be falling from that matchup. Will be Sonics going out in 3rd. Both players in a win streak, koalaesbelto and Sill Wanders.
Yeah, both playing spoiler too. That's actually a good thing for ThatsAdmirable. To be completely honest with everybody, this is probably the best case scenario for him. Outside of koalaesbelto. koalaesbelto might be able to jump some people, which is exactly how he's been able to top 3 the last couple times.
If koalaesbelto gets first, they'll actually overtake ThatsAdmirable. They'll be at 22 points over ThatsAdmirable's 21. But this is still a very impactful 1v1 if koalaesbelto can take it.
Yo, ThatsAdmirable. Are you watching right now?
Oh boy.
You're 10 HP away from either coming back next week or maybe casting it next week. We'll see.
Oh man. All right, let's see. The final swap's coming through from Koala. Okay, you're going to position on the right-hand side. That's a good Vel'Koz position. It dodges out the Shadow Shroud as well.
Teemo.
Volibear, Teemo Zephyr. koalaesbelto making everything work. The old Vel'Koz and the Volibear ult. It hits the whole board. Vel'Koz is going to go for another one, but the Garen's still alive. The Garen's still alive.
It's not over, friends. Ult again.
Can Lux get the shield? She can't.
Oh,
Vel'Koz. Oh, Koala hangs on. 1 round longer.
That is not a for sure win.
No, this could go either way. If the Zephyr was different, if the Shroud hits koalaesbelto, this could be over and doomed. Oh, man.
Whew. It was a little bit of a trampoline park there on the board for a second. Those 2 Volibears ulting at the exact same time, throwing the entire board up, but the tier 1 Volibear actually helping out a little bit more damage coming in from Sill's team, but then the response from the Lux, from the Vel'Koz definitely helping out. That is just a Lux too, and we do get shrouded. The Teemo does get shrouded.
Teemo gets shredded.
Nice Volibear ult too. Takes down the shield of the Garen, who almost is able to go again. And this is going to be another win for koalaesbelto. Man, if I'm ThatsAdmirable, I am starting to get a little nervous. This one was even worse. That's a lot of HP going down the drain. We're 1 round away from finding out our top 3. Is it going to be koalaesbelto or ThatsAdmirable?
6 Spellweaver? Is it time? Oh man, it is. Koala finds the 6th, or I guess the 5th Spellweaver now. The spat's gonna make it 6. I think this is it, Boop. I think this might be the comeback. Buys the Teemo because next round is gonna be game no matter what. It's a bit more gold. Can roll for what, the Kindred 2, Brand 2. Small upgrades, but they might end up being the difference because these rounds, well, at least the first round was really close. The last round was not. Zyra's gonna be a bit better than Brand. All these grayed out Teemos that you can't buy. Yeah, I'm nervous too. Nervous for ThatsAdmirable. Nervous for koalaesbelto. For both of them. A lot riding on this one. Zyra pair comes through.
It's all coming down to this. And we have good units for Spellweaver stacks that are going to happen way soon. It's the first time I've ever seen 6 Spellweaver. Honestly, you don't even know what the percentages are. Just know that they're good. As we do some last-minute changes, it's going to be up to this Karma to snipe the back line. Remember, the target is random. We do get rid of the Nidalee, and good shrouds both ways. It's kind of a little bit of an equalizer. The Karma's unable to ult at all. The Teemo's now throwing those shrooms, but no one is on the Vel'Koz. That squid is able to windshield wipe that entire board so far, and it is going to be koalaesbelto still trying to hold on to this victory. It's going to be all up to this Vel'Koz, and it's not going to happen this time around as Sill Wanders is able to bring it back. Admirable, you better give him a little bit of a gift, my friend, because the spoilers of spoilers came out last place, winning that last lobby in thrilling fashion. Huge day of games today. Jose, very close to the record. So close. Sill, everyone having a game today. So what a great day. What a great day of games, just in general.
That was a great day of games and a hype way to end it off on, right? Koala almost making the comeback, but that's what happens when you have that much of an HP lead and you play the early game so well. Is just, sure, you can take a few losses, go past a neutral round, know how to improve your comp a little bit every single time, not having to play like your life's on the line every single round, and usually with that, you'll be able to sneak in a round win eventually, and that's what Sill Wanders did to get that round victory. Sill Wanders looks like they won't be coming back for next week, but let's take a look at the scores. Make sure we got everything correct here. Yeah, Sill Wanders with that victory does go up to a 6th place, but of course it is Jose who wins out the night by over 10 points, 34 points for Jose. Sonic's in 2nd with 23. ThatsAdmirable barely getting the 3rd place with 21 points. We'll be returning back for next week. If they so choose. Koala, though, in 4th. In the money. But man, that's a very, very close kind of like even 2nd to like 6th there. It's such a close game in points.
Yeah, I got to be completely honest with you. That was, in terms of storyline going into that last lobby, koalaesbelto having to win that lobby on fire, maybe the strongest comp for a lot of that lobby. 1 point separated Admirable and koalaesbelto, and that 1 point was enough for our casting brother over there. But we also had a really great day on top of the leaderboard too. 3 straight wins and a 4th. It's funny, they got 34 points and we're talking about it like it's a little bit of a disappointment because it's not a record, right? But in reality, 34 points is only 6 points from perfect, right? That's tough to do. Mad props to Jose. I know a lot of people are saying Filipino proud, and that's really awesome to be able to represent as well. We'll get an interview here. Well, now?
I think we do. Jose, are you on the line? Congratulations on your run today.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Hearing you a little bit double, maybe production fixed that one. But yeah, congratulations once again, Jose, on your victory. 3 back-to-back first places. How are you feeling after such an insane run that you had today?
I'm pretty sure every game I played today, I high rolled pretty hard. Like if I look back in all those games, I just played it out well because I was put in a good position. So I'm pretty happy with those 3 games.
Oh yeah, definitely. Man, that's just an insane run. Were you feeling the pressure at all of maybe breaking the Fight Night record, or were you not even thinking about that one?
It didn't actually really cross my mind. I was just like the last game I was just pretty much limit testing, like going 9 at like 5-2, and like trying some other stuff, because yeah, it wasn't really on my mind to like break the record. I was just kind of happy with my performance for the first 3 games.
Yeah, you locked it up before even the 4th lobby. That doesn't happen that often. But in terms of your control today, like those 3 lobbies, you were the best comp you played. I think some of the best out of those 3 lobbies. So in terms of why you think your performances, it's got to be more than just hitting, right? What do you kind of credit your prep for coming into this? Did you prep? Did you do any studying? Or did you just have like one of those days where nothing was really going wrong?
I mean, even the games I played earlier, like before the tourney started, I played pretty well in all my solo queue games, so I kind of felt good going into the tourney. And I think I played my early game like as well as I could, just perfect loss or like perfect win streaking, so I think that was like really some of the, like, I don't know, deciding factors, I guess, to put me in good positions for the game.
It definitely seemed like the world was almost like carrying you, you know, through the victory. You know what I mean? It was like it was meant to be, and hearing that you were that successful, you know, previously in your solo queue games makes a lot of sense, to be honest, because we were saying that like anyone who's kind of locked in attitude-wise like this tends to do quite well. So yeah, that's it for me. Just really great, clean day of games, and really glad I got to watch that performance from you today.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, one more question actually before we let you go here, Jose. You know, the B patch came through just a couple of days ago. How much do you think that's, you know, shaking up the meta? How much weight do you put into that? It was mainly the Hellions and the Redeemed, but do you think that actually has a massive impact when it comes to this meta?
I think the Redeemed players like bought for it a lot more. I think that was pretty evident, and I think Hellions still suck, so
need more buffs.
Yeah, tell me how you really feel.
They're just bad. I hate that they're bad because I like playing the comp, but yeah, I don't really get an opportunity to play the comp as much as I'd want to. But I'm happy that Redeemed is down because I was pretty down bad on LP. Redeemed players.
Yeah, Redeemed is a bit oppressive, a bit less so now. So thank you very much for the insights, Jose. Congratulations once again on your Fight Night Rising victory. Do you have any last moment shout outs before we let you go here?
Shout out to my community for staying up with me. It's like 6 a.m. over here. So
oh jeez.
Thanks for staying up with me, guys. Appreciate you all.
Appreciate you.
All right, congrats, and we'll see you here next week.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Jose was in contention to break the record. Did not do so because that wasn't even on their mind. They were just limit testing. They were just trying to get as much knowledge as possible. I respect it.
I want to full circle this. I want to full circle this,
yeah,
right?
Sure,
because I think the same concept of I'm out of the tournament, I'm just going to play, right, kind of is the same thing that we just heard there, right? You know, I was coming in, I was feeling good. I'm just limit testing, right? Sometimes when you come in and you don't let the pressure kind of seep into you and seep into your play, you can almost break a record. And so I think a lot of people think that, you know, before a tournament, they have to be like, oh, I'm getting ready. Let's like boot camp. Let's do this, this, and this. Right. But, you know, when I was a music teacher, I always told my students to not play the day before a recital. Right? It's because sometimes that break can actually make you feel a little bit better and take some pressure off of you. So I think that was definitely a highlight for me. And the other highlight is the fact that Sill and Admirable must be great friends right now because of that lobby win.
Yeah,
now we get to see a caster play again next week. But that was the other thrilling thing. It's like you saw that 10 on fire slowly rising up, and you're like, is this going to happen? And it went to one round. One round was the difference between Admirable coming back and not. So that was absolutely thrilling today.
That was fantastic stuff, and yeah, what a better way. Could have been a better way to end off the day. It was so impactful. Like, not always do we get those like really hype, like 1v1s that matter if some player comes back or not. Sometimes we do, but it's always nice to get that dynamic coming through. It was a wonderful day of games. Wonderful casting alongside you again, Boopasaurus, per usual.
Always.
And if you're watching right now, make sure to stick around or come back around maybe in about an hour, because we will be having the Challenger Series, the final chance for players in North America to qualify for the Mid-Set Invitational. 1 spot is still left. 8 players will be duking it out there, and that's, yeah, about an hour. So thank you all for watching. Until next time, next week in Fight Night Rising, or we actually will be swapping up the times again. So if you're coming here next week, Fight Night Rising, it will be back at that 8 p.m. Central, I believe, because Challenger Series means that we swap the times earlier, but Challenger Series come to an end for this one. So yeah, all right, that's all the housekeeping, I believe. Got all that there.
Jose's gonna get sleep and then play.
Yeah, true.
So we'll see what happens.
Maybe, or just stay up the whole night, like some players might do, but we'll see. Either way, this has been Khroen and Boop and Khroen bringing you Fight Night Rising. Take care, have a good night, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.